This has been a wonderful place to race in the Northeast since ground was broken in '66. The first race held in 1969. This was built as a 1-mile super speedway and 5/8 mile horse track within, and has operated as such since. Yes, those are NASCAR drivers in 1981, and only time that ever happened. Neil Bonnet among the many winners at this racetrack, but you need a lot more than 1 horsepower if you're going to succeed here at Dover today for 400 miles. Clinton, you've had top 5s and top 10s at this place, but what is it about this track? It's only a mile around that so fills your need for speed.
It's that monster, and I'm telling you folks, this place is a monster. When I came to this racetrack, you literally have a conversation with yourself. All right, Clint, sensation of speed is through the roof. Feel faster than any track we go to right here at Dover. Elevation changes, G-loads. When you got out of this thing at the end of the day, boy, you were slap wore out.
And it's not just sensation of speed. You're talking about speeds up to 170 miles per hour on this 1-mile high-banked oval, and that's going to create mayhem and chaos for some of these drivers here today. Look how things just funnel to that inside wall in the straightaways, gathering multiple cars. We see wrecks like this on super speedways, not on 1-mile racetracks. Even yesterday in the Xfinity race, we saw one car on top of another.
It is quite a place. And it's one of our favorite places to come and see a race because you have a lot of choices, multiple grooves here, for instance. Well, one of the drivers that's on a roll, and no, I don't mean Martin Truex. We're going to have plenty to say about him, and Clint and Jeff talked to him earlier. But a fellow who's riding a big string of top 10s is William Byron.
Let's get a hold of him. Hey, Willie B, it's Boyer up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, man, I got you.
All right, Hot Rod, 10 top 10s, baby. I think Jeff's starting to get nervous, by the way. Holding that record, he's getting nervous. You got him on his heels. But this racetrack in particular, good starting spot. How are you going to win this race?
Yeah, man, we'd love to get in the top 10, but we'd really love to win. So, yeah, we're focused on winning today, and, you know, I feel like this place changes so much each run, so just got to keep up with it, got to keep our feet back good. We've been doing a good job of executing in the pits and kind of just working our race, so we're going to race our race and see what happens.
Well, man, good luck. We're going to be watching. Been doing a great job, very consistent. It's time for a win, baby.
Yeah, man, thank you, guys.
So let's have a look at our credible.com starting grid for today's race. Martin Win Everything Truex, 3 times a winner here. Top 2 the last 4 races here. Denny Hamlin, 9 top 5s in 2021. Won at Dover last year. There's William Byron coming off 10 straight top 10 finishes. And Kyle Larson, the last time he was here, he won.
And in row 3 on the inside, Kevin Harvick, 3-time Dover winner and our most recent winner here at Dover. Alongside him on the outside starting 6, Kyle Busch, also a 3-time Dover winner.
About this row, Ryan Blaney never finished in the top 5. I think that changes today. This is a guy that's certainly capable of getting the job done right here. Chase Elliott coming from the back. Last win was October 2018 Dover winner, so be looking for him to make some noise coming up through the field.
Row 5, Joey Logano on a streak of 3 races without a top 10. And hey, they say we never talk about Chris Buescher. Here he is in 10th place for Roush Fenway. Top 10 in his last 2 races. Having a great season. Beginning with Christopher Bell, everybody's on the ticker along the bottom of the screen, back through 37th place as we check in with our crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Well, Mike, let me tell you another part of Dover that can be a monster, and I don't mean in size. We are talking about pit road. It is a very tough pit road to get onto under green. Pit road speed, 35 miles per hour. The last 8 races at Dover, we've had 37 pit road speeding penalties. And it's very tight. It's almost hard to run side by side down this pit road. In fact, Clint Boyer told me he a lot of times would just back off where he didn't put himself in harm's way. So, Mike, the bottom line, give and take on the racetrack, but you better have give and take on pit road.
Thanks, Larry Mack. And speaking of pit road, 2 of the best down there patrolling the pit lane for us. Let's begin with Jamie Little.
Hey, Mike. Well, Brad Keselowski is coming off one of his worst finishes of the year at Darlington. Not only was his car a handful, but his crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, was out for COVID protocols. And on top of that, his car chief has been out because of his surgery. Well, bad news for 2 fans. They're both out today as well. Brad told me, though, the good news is They learned a lot last weekend, and they hope that helps them today. Brad told me his biggest concern, though, is starting mid-pack right now and being caught up early. He knows that monster is hungry. Regan Smith.
Well, Jamie, Kyle Larson, as well as his crew chief Cliff Daniels, have both been involved with wins at Dover Raceway. But conventional wisdom would say that's a piece of cake. Put these guys together, nothing could possibly go wrong. Cliff told me earlier today, though, he had to completely rethink how he sets up a race car because his previous driver, Jimmy Johnson, drove this track so much differently than what Kyle Larson did. He feels like they got him the right setup, tuned in on that race car, and they can continue on their strong finishes that they've been having this year.
Thanks, Regan. Drivers checking their pit road speed as we have a look at our Credit One race analysis. To go 400 miles on this 1 mile super speedway, stages 1 and 2, 120 laps each. Then the final stage, pit road speed 35 miles an hour, fuel window 95 to 100 laps. Let's make that final stage 160 laps. Still looking for win number 1 of 2021, with 21 wins last year between them and a big fat goose egg this year.
Hard to believe, Mike.
And no one reason why for any one of these, right?
Well,
Jeff?
just a lot of parity in the sport, and you know, some guys that have really come to the front that maybe were a little bit unexpected, and these guys are now playing catch up.
But that's nothing new that we see in the sport over the years. I mean, I could tell you in my career, you know, you get on that wave and you ride it. That wave eventually fizzles out.
And you know what? A lot of things happen over the offseason where teams catch up to you also.
All right, slather up that sunscreen and let's get ready to rock here in Dover. One more lap and we will go green.
Man, check out this crowd here today.
Yeah, on their feet. Beautiful day.
And great to see these tracks opening up again. Charlotte will be at full capacity for Memorial Day weekend, 100%. So our Fox Ride Along program, Kevin Harvick, the Hunt Brothers Pizza Cam in his number 4 Mustang. Matt DiBenedetto carries the Ford Performance camera in his number 21 Mustang. Bubba Wallace, the McDonald's cam, on board his number 23 Camry. And Ricky Stenhouse carrying the Bush's Best cam in his Camaro.
And they're going to be using that right side headrest there, Mike, because this track pulls some G's, long sustained G's, really hard on the body here to run 400 laps at Dover.
All right, to the rear, Chase Elliott, 2 inspection failures. Ryan Newman, unapproved adjustments on his number 6. And the 77, big story there, due to COVID, they need a replacement driver for this week, and they have chosen Josh Berry. And what a weekend Josh has had. 2nd in the ARCA race, runner-up in the $100,000 Dash for Cash winner yesterday in the Xfinity race. Justin Haley will be back, of course.
Definitely not done hearing his name. Josh Berry's done such a fantastic job. I think he's literally on the brink. He needs a little bit of sponsorship. I guarantee you, Dale Jr. is the right cat to be able to find that, right, Jeff?
Seize the moment. Take advantage of this opportunity.
Here we go, boys.
Green flag. Look at that lead duo. Isn't this how we ended at Darlington?
I imagine these two guys are going to be battling it out, not just all day today, but all season.
Byron and Bush for 4th.
See the advantage of that bottom groove. You might be able to carry some momentum on the start, on those restarts on that outside, maybe for a lap, but then that bottom lane is really going to prevail until we get some time and laps on these Goodyear tires.
And starting off probably pretty free right here. If I'm wanting to start this race, I want to feel my car pretty sideways because I know it's going to come to me on a long run. You need long run speed at a track like this.
We saw the 5 of Kyle Larson fired in there behind our leader, Martin Truex Jr., and it got loose big time going into turn 3 behind him.
Yeah, I've never failed. You come out of here, you start this race, and that thing, you got a whole handful of wheel, and she's tight already. This early, you're in big trouble.
Whoa! And don't clip that apron. There's a lot less banking there as we see William Byron going to 3rd place around Denny Hamlin.
Ricky Stenhouse on the outside. Don't know if there was contact between he and Bubba Wallace.
No, he sensed it. He felt it. He knew he needed to move up the racetrack. That was, really quick hands by both of those drivers.
That's such a good point too, Jeff. Like, you don't always see that car, but you can hear him. The other thing, you can feel it and you can hear him. When they crack out of the throttle, you hear the old pipes crackle and that car underneath of you, Jeff. How many times you're like, whoa, yeah. I'm in trouble.
And so we're going to go back and we're going to replay this. If you watch Bubba Wallace in the 23 car, watch him get really close and clip that apron just the slightest bit. See right there, that's what makes that car go up the racetrack. And when he did that, the 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., saw that out of the corner of his eye.
Plus, situation analysis. Here's Ricky. Who's inside me? What's possible? What could happen? Did happen.
Well, what could happen didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right.
There's a lot of good happens at this place. And it all comes to those cars underneath of you.
I love this viewpoint as you're right on board with Bubba Wallace and our advisor Cam. Man, look at the banking and how long you are in the banking, how much it's pulling your body. And you can actually see Bubba start to tilt his head a little bit as he gets down into the corner to fight against those G's.
The other thing,
his head's pulling.
If you hear along right here, this is such an important part. You've got to be able to have a car free enough that you can stay with the throttle. When he goes in this corner, you'll hear him pick the throttle up right here, Mike.
Now, if you're already tilting your head at
the key is right there when he lifts at that 5/8 mark, you've got to be able to carry the throttle and stay with it all the way up.
So there's vertical G's that pulls you, down into the racetrack. Then there's lateral G's. So watch it compress his body on those vertical G's, pushing him into the racetrack.
Hops back up on the straightaway.
Got to stretch that neck and spine out before you hit that next corner.
And then the banking just compresses you into that seat in the corners.
Plus in turn 3, and you saw a little bit of it riding on board. His car's riding pretty good, pretty smooth, but there's some huge bumps, about 4 big bumps going into turn 3 as he loads in the banking.
Yeah, guys, we talked about it on the pre-race show. When you go from the straightaway down to the bottom of the corner, it's an elevation change of 15 feet, which is equivalent to 2 stories.
Wow. Since the start of this race, Chase Elliott is up 12 positions from 36th. So if you're leaning into the seat that far on lap 6, what's that going to feel like about lap 396?
Oh, your head's going to feel like it's 1,000 pounds. Look at this move by William Byron. You were talking to him on the radio, Clint, to start this race. Man, Rudy Fugel's got that thing dialed in. He went around the outside of Kyle Larson for second.
So not to name drop, but last night at the next table at dinner were William Byron, his dad Bill, and his uncle. At the next table, Josh Berry and his group. And Bill Byron walked over, congratulated Josh on a great run, picked up the dinner tab for the Berries.
All right.
Got a class act.
Yeah,
huh?
William
Next time you see him at dinner somewhere, call me. Sit down.
There's Josh Berry in the 77 filling in for Haley.
I can guarantee you those 2 sitting beside you didn't pick your check up, did they?
No, actually, we went to dinner.
I didn't bring cash.
We went to dinner with Jay Fabian and Scott Miller, the NASCAR officials that run this series. And when the waitress came up with a check, Scott just pointed to the other end of the table, and our producer Barry
It's the
Landis
worst part about a driver. It says it right on the door of a Brinks truck. Driver carries no cash.
Right. There you go. But we had a great time.
Tell you what, Willie B is rolling.
Concrete and crab cakes, only at Dover. Jersey's own Martin Truex Jr. has led every lap so far. Surprise, surprise. how quickly things change while we were away. Martin Truex goes low on the lapped car of Josh Bilicki, and William Byron rockets by for the lead. Then here comes Kyle Larson. He catches Truex, pins him behind a lapped car, and Martin drops to third. It's not over. Here comes Harvick. Just 2 laps ago. Looking high and making the pass. Now this all happened within 2 minutes. Martin led the first 15 laps. What's going on with the 19?
Well, first of all, James Small, Martin Truex Jr. have made it look so easy this year when they've gone to victory lane like they did at Darlington without any practice, getting that setup of that race car, the heights, the balance, everything perfect. Well, this goes to show you it's not that easy, guys.
Yeah, and with clean air, you know, he had the, because of his win, starts out front, has the clean air, just needs an adjustment. We're going to get to this stage break. I can promise you see some wedge wrenches and some air pressure adjustments coming their way.
Yeah, and we keep hearing that it's
turn 2. Oh, a big slip and slide. I thought that car was gone and going to take 3 of them with it. Sorry.
Well, you rarely just take yourself out when you go, get in a wreck or make contact with somebody at this racetrack as fast as things are moving. But going back to Martin Truex Jr., I'm hearing the front nose is just not gripping, doesn't have the front turn he needs.
Things got a little busy down in turns 1 and 2. Chase Briscoe under Bubba Wallace. And we had that, and we also had a car flat sideways in turn 2. Don't know how he saved it, but did.
So easy to do when you come off of turn 2, Jeff. You're coming up, you have so much inertia, so much momentum, a handful of wheel in it, and when that thing snaps right there, it gets your attention.
Uh-oh, what's going on here with Kyle Busch?
Well, our cameramen around the course report in that car sounds like the engine's not firing on all 8.
Yeah, he's a half a second a lap off right now for most of the leaders.
Oh, definitely,
Mike, so
I can hear it.
Something's not right.
Yeah, definitely sick down a cylinder. Sometimes, usually that doesn't fix itself. Sometimes it's a plug wire or something like that, if you're lucky.
Here's what they're saying about it.
Forward up. Yep. Going home, boys. Back it up. Yeah, I hear you. Make sure you got all your switches where you need. Recycle it if you need. No smoke yet. Where your 10? 275, 300.
By the way, the car that was in turn 2 that almost spun by himself was Tyler Reddick. He gathered it back and continues without incident in 13th place.
And I'm not going to second guess Kyle Busch. He knows what he's feeling inside that race car. But I've had plenty of gremlins that have popped up that made me think the car was blowing up and the engine was blown up. And you never know. It potentially could be something that you mentioned.
Him asking him the temperatures and they sounded pretty high. That's usually a tell-all sign too. Boy, that 5 car's loose right there.
Well, the 5 car started really loose, and now as this track's tightening up, laying rubber down, I think it's starting to come to him. See these guys, there's what I like, what I'm seeing right now, Clint, moving up that racetrack. We're seeing a wide groove. We talked about guys wrapping the bottom. Now we're starting to see these guys run that diamond groove all the way up to the, maybe not all the way to the wall, but pretty high up.
Searching for concrete that doesn't have rubber in it. You know, it rubber's up down there on the bottom, starts to get really slick, move around, find new real estate.
Well, relief is on the way. We'll have a competition caution here at lap 35. Here are today's Ford Performance Track Facts. Ford, winner of the last 2 here at Dover. Not the last 2, but the last 2 Ford wins are Kevin Harvick, spring of 2018 and the fall of last year. Top 10 in his last 6 Dover starts. And Harvick running 3rd.
I think Kevin Harvick was listening to our pre-race. He heard me say he's not going to win till Michigan. He's one of the fastest cars out there right now. Might make me a liar today.
So William Byron has been out front for the last 16 laps. Prior to today, he only had 7 total laps led at Dover. Chase Elliott plus 19 from the start of this race, right there behind Bubba Wallace. As you look back. Now Martin Truex has pretty much settled in 4th place for now, Jamie.
Yeah, Mike, he started on the pole and slipped back, and Jeff, you mentioned it. He's just sliding the nose when he gets in the rubber as his teammate Denny Hamlin closes the gap. Just an update, though, many of these drivers Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin on this competition caution. They want to take 4 tires, make any adjustments, and then try to set themselves up to make it to the end of this stage.
That comp caution coming shortly.
Hard to believe. There's a lot of cars in trouble. Just in 30 laps here, these guys are already on the brink of going a lap down. This group right here, that's why they're racing so hard.
And they'll stay on the lead lap. You see William Byron right behind that group.
And you see
closing fast.
In second place, Larson trying to take advantage of William Byron hitting those lap cars first. That's what I call a gaggle of cars right there.
Sure is.
Man.
These guys are screaming, put it out, hurry up, put it out.
They should have watched the pre-race.
That's not a put
They
it out.
didn't need to put it out. There it is, put it out.
Now, what I like there was William Byron allowed Ryan Preece to pass in turn 2 and stay on the lead lap. A couple of those behind him weren't quite so fortunate.
Those favors will come back your way someday.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
And Ryan Newman was the other that stayed on the lead lap because of that.
I don't think he'll remember that favor.
Oh, come on.
He never remembered mine.
Larry Mack.
Yeah, let's take a look at our PNC race strategies. Race strategy here is the type of strategy that keeps crew chiefs awake at night. Split all 3 stages in half, even stage 1 after the competition caution. We're going to go back racing around 40 to 42 according to Jamie Little. They may be looking at doing some other options there. If you're off just a little bit maybe from the leaders, don't be afraid to go long under green and hope to catch that caution. And if we run only maybe 15, 20 laps or less on a set of tires and your car's handling well, consider doing right sides only for track position. Track position, Mike, is still key, and that's the PNC race strategy.
Thanks, Larry Mack. Pit road is open. Remember, we only race once at Dover this year. There is no Dover race in the playoffs, so nobody's planning for that. Byron's in. Here's Regan.
William Byron, the very first pit stall off of the racetrack. His race car started off just a little bit too tight for him early in that run. Got loose later on as the run went on. The 5 car of Kyle Larson, that car loads tight, getting into the corners, ended up freeing up as well as the run went on. And Kevin Harvick in the 4 car got loose as the track took rubber. He was struggling over the rubber some. Jamie?
Bottom left, the 11 of Denny Hamlin said he's loose in, and when he slows up to try to get it better, it gets freer. He needs more security. A 4-tire stop here. The 19, Martin Truex Jr. said, it just does not feel good. I can't move around, he said. They're going to add some stagger here with that air pressure. Make another adjustment and 4 tires for Truex.
Upper left, that could be trouble, and they made it work. You just don't want to be side by side on this pit road, and Larson and Byron were all the way down.
They made it work, but it's so hard not to speed in that situation when you're all the way down pit road, side by side like they were.
Enter Clint's Fox Bet Super 6 Stage 2 contest to win your share of $10,000 of Clint's money. Download the app, pick 6 race outcomes about Stage 2 for your shot to win. Free to play. Don't miss out. You might even get one of those beautiful Clint Boyer t-shirts that I saw.
Man, I tell you what,
this weekend.
Are you sure I got to give 10 grand out? That casino on the back straightaway took most of it, folks.
Wait a week.
Ask if you had any left.
I'm going to have to get a loan, pay my people off.
Okay. Speeding. Tyler Reddick, Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie. All speeding penalties. And Martin Truex came out 12th because, get this, a lug nut fell and interfered with the mechanism of the jack, so the jack wouldn't go up or down, and Truex comes out 12th.
It happens. It surprises me that those lug nuts don't cause more havoc. They're literally everywhere after these pit stops, all over the place.
Michael McDowell reports his brake pedal's going to the floor. Kyle Busch says the problem with his engine is internal. We're going to run it till it blows up.
Oh, I just heard it go by.
Yeah.
Won't be long.
Yeah, won't be long now.
Definitely sick.
Kyle Larson takes off with the lead from Harvick, Boyer, Blaney, Hamlin, and Chris Buescher.
Jeff Gordon, you said it. I think you might be in trouble with your words. I think you made old Kevin Harvick mad.
I think so, man. He is rolling. That thing's looking good. Looking like the old Harvick.
Martin Truex has picked up 1 spot to 11th. Jamie?
Well, you guys mentioned that lug nut issue got stuck in the jack on the left side. David O'Dell, the jack man, good heads up. He realized it right away. Shook that jack a few times. It took 3 pumps, but they were able to get the car up. And on top of that, guys, Martin Truex Jr. on the nose. He had some debris earlier, and he closed up on another competitor to get it off and actually hit him. So he has some nose damage that they tried to repair quickly on that stop, too.
It's a dangerous game trying to get that debris off the front nose sometimes.
I mean, it's looking like they went to the luck bank a few too many times these last couple of weeks. Now, everything's not going their way. But it's early. William Byron reporting a brake issue.
Well, we're hearing a couple guys having some brake issues. You remember this little spoiler on that back deck lid? You could see it right there on the 20 car. And then you've got all that horsepower. You're using a lot more brakes getting into the corners.
Here's William Byron about brakes.
Yeah, I've got like no brake pedal in.
Copy that, no brake pedal.
Yeah, they're going to the floor. I see you just try to be off it as much as you can here. Make them live here. I know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't imagine, you know, this is a track where you don't typically use a lot of brakes. And so you're going to run pretty small brakes here because of it. But there's also, all those bumps over in turn 3 can knock those pads back. Here's a little contact.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Got loose underneath them. Chase Briscoe in the 14 just got loose and got up into him. That could have been turned him around and been the end. I mean, that's pretty much textbook crash right there. The start of it just didn't happen.
A little bit of damage to that right front fender on Chase Briscoe you saw there as he went by.
Same battle here. And yeah, they're all wadded up just like they were before the competition caution back here for about 16th. How about Chase Elliott? Had to start in the rear. He's found his way to the top 10. Engine number 9, chugging along.
Hey, Larry, I'm really curious about hearing these guys and hearing William Byron talk about brakes. Is there anything that Rudy Fugle and this team can do on a pit stop that maybe can open up those brake ducts and get some cooling there?
Well, and that's the thing we've been going back and looking at, Jeff, is to see how much opening some of these guys have. You and I both know, and Clint knows, as much time as you spend in the corners here, you want all the front downforce that you can. So it looks like a lot of them have been very aggressive with tape on those left and right front brake ducts. So that's the only thing you can do, is just give the front end more opening to cool those brakes.
But, all right, so that's what Larry can do. as a driver, Jeff, in that car, especially at a track like this, Mike, you've got to be able to help them. When your car's loose, which if you're going to run that bottom, it's loose. I'm telling you right now, your car's neutral to free, and watching William Byron, it is loose. You're dragging your brake a little bit. It keeps your car underneath of you, keeps it calmed down, keeps it, it's your insurance program. You got to get off that thing. Keep the heat off of them, back off of them, help your crew chief.
Yeah, I may not have ever used a lot of brake here at Dover, but I use the brakes every corner to, like you said, just to modulate it, taper off those brakes as you get to the center to help keep that car low and turning.
This was closer than it looked because Brad Keselowski came up off turn 2 and just about stopped. Joey Logano had to make a hard left to get under and get by here.
Boy, hard to say if he had a moment there prior to that and was trying to let Joey Logano go by. That was a little too close for comfort among teammates.
So hard to pass here. To be able to pass and make a good move, you almost have to put some pressure on him. Don't need to touch him, but you got to be right on him, especially with this package, a low downforce package like this. You can make them loose. They have to bail out of the gas and capitalize on that. Wiggle them up out of the way. Hard to do that with a teammate, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes, it is. You don't want to be talking about that on Monday morning. Kyle, this is when you're Kyle Busch, you're saying, can it please, can this thing go away? Because
one or the other.
It's just no fun riding around there with a sick engine like that.
Isn't that what the clutch pedal's for?
Hey, computer days, they know what you did now.
That's right. Good point. Kyle Larson at 55 laps leading Kevin Harvick, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin.
The Xfinity More Than Fast moment from Darlington must be this gutsy move by Kyle Larson, threading the needle en route to a second-place finish, proving it takes more than speed to succeed. Vote for this week's More Than Fast moment at Xfinity Racing on Twitter. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR.
62 laps complete. Kyle Larson out front among the lead lap cars. He's got the third fastest lap time here. William Byron quickest. Martin Truex, Larson, Harvick, and Hamlin is your pick to win in that fivesome.
Yes.
Rhetorical question, but okay. Now, Martin Truex came out of the pits in 12th, worked his way up to the top 10, and now he sits in 12th.
Lap and a half ago, the rear flipped that switch, but I still can't turn at all. The second, third down and 4. Still any issues with Splitter? Oh. So hard to tell. If I ever overdrive it, I take off up the track. Copy.
Jamie, what's going on there?
Well, he was talking about how hard it was to turn, and that was after I reported he had that nose damage. Well, he went on to say that right front splitter kept hitting the track, but now that the temps are coming up in the tires, he's actually swinging to the free side. So they've been all over the map in the start of this race.
It's one of the toughest things about this racetrack is the way that this car and the tire loads into the banking, as well as when the rubber starts getting laid down. You want more front grip. You don't want to unhook the back of the car, but that's about the only adjustment they have other than air pressure. So right now it sounds like they went to the rear of the car to try to swing or free it up. Now it's swinging the back and still not turning.
Wow.
Yeah, you fix one end, you hurt the other. Now what do? Do you go back? You go back halfway, try something different? Very, very tricky to fix that situation. Anytime when you don't have turn at a racetrack like this, just like you said, you know the adjustment he's going to do. So in the car, in your head, you're kind of reluctant to tell him all the way, Mike, because you know what it's going to do. It's going to pull that rear end out of the track. It's going to be loose with the rear, and it's probably not going to help the front turn either.
Wow.
Now you're even more on top of the racetrack.
53 to go in stage 1, Larry.
Yeah, this will be our Subway right combination. The 2014 William Byron, crew chief Rudy Fugle. This is their first season together in the Cup Series. Talked about it a lot in the pre-race show. The first 12 races, they got the win at Homestead. Now 10 consecutive top 10 finishes, including second at Talladega. Youngest driver ever in the Cup Series to accomplish this. The last Hendrick Motorsports driver with a streak of at least 10 consecutive top 10s, our Jeff Gordon in 2007. And they were also, he and Rudy Fugle, together in 2016 in the Truck Series at Kyle Busch Motorsports, and won a total of 7 races. And yes, Jeff, I know he has a long way to go to catch your record. That's the Subway right combination.
Hey, he owns the record right now to be the youngest.
My man got
Corey
sensitive
LaJoie on
that
pit road with a
subject.
right front down. He slowed in turn 2, had to come all the way around the racetrack carrying the race entitlement sponsors colors today.
See that right front fender damage? It looks like they tried to fix it a little bit. Still just didn't get enough of the rub out.
At 14th, that's Kurt Busch in that bright blue and aqua car going around the outside of Chase Briscoe.
Well, Kurt Busch, things have not been going well for him over the last several races, but this is a track where they can get it together, get some momentum building in the right direction. He runs good, knows how to drive this racetrack, really knows how to break down these corners and to give details back to the crew chief to try to work on this car.
Let's move up to second place. Kevin Harvick, just a little less than 2 seconds behind the leader, Regan.
Well, Mike, you see Kevin Harvick had a very strong run early on in this race. Maybe not necessarily the kind of season we've expected out of Kevin so far. No wins for a driver who had 9 last year. Crew Chief Rodney Childers told me earlier today, this is the track they can get things going the right direction. This racetrack surface has stayed the same for so many years that their setups continue to work well here. That's clear with how its performance is right now.
Good run for Harvick. Now watch Corey LaJoie on the outside here.
Yeah, clearly already has a right front issue right there. Just brushes the wall. So whatever was going on there, maybe he made contact with somebody else, and that right front fender was rubbing on the right front and finally went down.
Well, you can tell it was definitely from before. He's got bare bond on it and stuff like that. But I saw a repair. You know, it looked like it had been fixed a little bit, just didn't quite get it enough rubbed, and I would say that's what cut that tire down.
So 74 laps complete. Kyle Larson has now led more laps at Dover than any other track Let's go under the helmet with Bubba Wallace, brought to you by Toyota.
The foundation's called Live to Be Different. I'm different inside of this sport. We've been doing scholarship, picking out one lucky student that we felt like met all the criteria of trying to push the boundaries and excel to the top, and we'd give them a $5,000 scholarship. But we needed to look at something much bigger. It's like, hey, we're here as a backbone, as a support system, to provide those opportunities to get you to the next level.
Here are your Toyota top performers. Denny Hamlin in 5th. Truex in 12th, as we documented. Wallace right behind him. Christopher Bell 22 seconds back in 22nd. And Kyle Busch with an ailing engine. Two Chevys, 2 Fords, and Hamlin's Toyota make up the top 5 after 77 laps on the Monster Mile.
WWE Thunderdome, Intercontinental Champion Apollo Crews defends his title in a sudden death fatal 4-way against Sami Zayn, Big E, and Kevin Owens. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
Mike, I bet you could talk fast like that.
I used to could.
Used to.
Used to could.
The action here is every bit as fast. Welcome back to the Drydene 400. On FS1, Kyle Larson leading Kevin Harvick by about 3.5. That's what that looks like. William Byron right on Harvick's bumper in 3rd. And about 1.5 seconds behind William Byron, we find Ryan Blaney in 4th. Jamie.
Ryan Blaney up 3 spots since the start of this race. This is not one of his better racetracks. I talked to his crew chief, Todd Gordon. He said last time they were here, they had good speed, but their balance was just off. So they took some swings at it to really help the balance, and it is paying off. Blaney loves his car right now. They made an air pressure adjustment on the last stop, and that is it.
Balance. I can't say the word balance enough here at this racetrack because of how long you're in these corners, how fast they are. If you get the balance right here, you don't even have to have as much grip as somebody else. If you just get the balance right, you're going to succeed here today.
Denny Hamlin in 5th. Still looking for that first win, but if he keeps piling up top 5s, he's not even going to need a win. And he can lead the regular season right into the playoffs.
Which has bonus points that go along with it if he wins that.
Well, Chris Buescher continues to impress. Both of the Roush Fenway cars had top 10s last week. And behind Chris Buescher and looking at that 6th spot is Chase Elliott. Regan.
Well, a strong run from the rear of the field for Chase Elliott right now, Mike, but he just came on the radio and said, I am starting to have brake fade right now. Another driver with some slight brake issues. He's going to do what he can to try and cool him off as you see him trying to pass the 17 here.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why, too. When you start running hard and trying to press the envelope, you know, getting on him, trying to make that pass, that's when you heat them brakes up. You get out there by yourself, you can get in a rhythm and figure out how to use, you know, run on this racetrack without using the brakes.
Well, right now you see Chris Buescher's running the same line that Chase Elliott wanted to run, and so that's not doing those brakes any favor right now. Very little air is flowing through those ducts, as you see here. Chase Elliott right in the tire tracks. Now he's going to move up the racetrack.
You know, I heard you say balance, and you're so correct. And the reason I like that and why it's so important is the momentum side of this racetrack. You know, huge corners, long ways around there, forces you almost to pick up the throttle before you're ready to. You squirt the center, drive it through the middle. Balance is where this is key. At that 5/8 to 3/4 mark on around that corner, you get to a point where you got too much momentum. You got to be able to crack out of the throttle, get the nose to point, and right back to it. And if that thing isn't balanced enough, you got to bail out of the gas, not just breathe it, feather it out.
Larry can give us a better look at brake cooling options.
Yeah, Mike, you know, on those last pit stops, we did see Rudy Fugle in the 24 car pull some tape off the brake ducts. So let's go to our Ford Performance Cutaway car, and let's show you what they can do to cool these brakes. You normally think about cooling of brakes at short tracks, but obviously they're using a lot more brake here with that little bitty rear spoiler. So what they do, they have this plenum right here that's in the nose of the car. And then you have these hoses, but the one thing you can do is you see right there, that's a fan. And a lot of times what they'll do, they'll put fans in those hoses, and that allows them to block up more of that opening, because again, the more you open it, it hurts front downforce, and I think that's what's got some teams in trouble here in the early, going too aggressive with tape on the front brake ducts.
Oh, could well be. For example, William Byron, who's having brake issues.
I think we're better on the bottom 3/4. Use less brake for sure. Yeah, I know. He's probably doing that to keep from using them. No, incorrect. He's using more, running the top. Gotcha.
And that's to get the thing slowed down to make it rotate. You drive off in the corner harder when you run the outside, Jeff, but once you get to the middle, you got to use some brakes to get that front end turning and pointed the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know.
If the thing is balanced. If your balance is right back to your balance.
Well, and also remember, they don't run short track brakes here.
Yeah.
You know, they usually try to minimize some of that rotating mass and weight by running a little bit smaller brake package here. So it's pretty easy to get those brakes overheated.
And a lot of things go into that. Always a track somewhere in the schedule that's a little bit overlooked on brakes. Obviously, today's Dover.
24 to go in stage 1. We're going to take you Fox side by side. Kyle Larson leading in Dover. The best battle on the racetrack, though, has been for 16th. Chase Briscoe, Ricky Stenhouse, Daniel Suarez with Ross Chastain. They have been going at it, everything but contact.
Well, what's creating all this is the multiple grooves that we're seeing right now forming at Dover. Look at all the rubber that's laid down on this racetrack. You've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the bottom. Here comes Chase Briscoe using that momentum from that top lane.
Well, that's the hardest part. You can get down there. Boy, look at the quarter panel.
Yeah,
Somebody's been into his left rear pretty hard. It may have been the car we're riding with.
The last couple of laps, Stenhouse went to the bottom and tried to shove through.
He's doing a great job getting to the bottom, but he's driving in super deep, carrying a lot of momentum to the center, and then the car just can't quite stay there and hook the bottom to complete the pass.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's attempting a slide job, but from my experience here, it's super hard to pass. Always keep that in mind, but you got to give up a little bit on entrance, squirt that center like we were talking about on those dual lines, and be able to get in front of him, take the position over there when you get off the corner.
Daniel Suarez is right with them, and Tyler Reddick's going, hey guys, wait for me.
As he slides off the corner.
And that's frustrating too, Jeff. How many times have you been working on a guy, working on him, lap after lap, all of a sudden you look in the mirror and that guy you passed 10 laps ago is fixing to look at outside of you. It's like, You know if you can get around him, you're 2/10 faster immediately, but it's so hard to get all the way clear.
Well, and what this is doing to those tires, the air pressure building up in those tires, it looks like he's finally going to make that pass, but the damage has been done to those tires.
7th place here. They're going to come up on a lapped car. Joey Logano is going to have clear sailing in the low lane, and Chris Buescher will follow. So will Alex Bowman as they work around Garrett Smithley. So Buescher has been in the top 8 just about all day.
So impressed with the job that Chris Buescher and this team is doing this year for him. They've been bringing some great race cars and getting the balance right for him and putting complete races together. And it all showed up last weekend at Darlington as a result.
And you can see every week they keep getting better. That, you know, he's not tearing cars up. That enables his team to keep working on things, massage them in the shop, make them faster and faster. And I'm telling you, we talked about it in the pre-race. There's a chance, not a chance. I look for him to be in the playoffs.
You talked about parts and pieces and not tearing up race cars, and we just saw Eric Almirola go a lap down. Those guys got to be about out of parts. They have torn up so many race cars, not necessarily to Eric's doing, but man, has he been at the wrong place at the wrong time so many times this year already.
Well, and that's just, it just keeps putting you behind. You may look at, all right, now you're starting at the back because of a bad run last week. We're starting at the back, digging ourselves out of a hole. You have a wrecked race car. Instead of working and massaging on that hot rod all week long, you're rebuilding one from the ground up. It's just such a challenge to dig yourself out of that hole, but they can.
10 to go as Ryan Blaney tries to move back toward the front on the outside of William Byron.
Well, we saw William Byron working on second place Kevin Harvick. Did he overheat those brakes trying to make that pass happen? And now is fading a little bit as he gives up 4th position to Blaney.
Larry showed us those little brake blowers. If you have a power boat, you have a bilge blower to blow fumes out of the engine compartment. And that's what they used to use, is bilge blowers. The ones they have now are the same size, the same shape, but they have brushless motors and they cost 10 times as much.
That's more like a turbo.
That's going to be turbo. Well, look at Chase Elliott coming into the picture, going to the inside of his teammate William Byron.
Yeah, Jeff, he's been diamonding the track down in turn 1 and 2, cutting low, sweeping up high, cutting back down low, making the track a diamond shape instead of an oval.
Well, and I really like the diamond shape, but that car's working good at just about anywhere. He wrapped the bottom right there and still carried great momentum off. That's how good that number 9 is working, how the great job that Chase Elliott's doing right now. So he's one of the few guys that I've seen can carry the lap times that he's running right on the bottom. But if you diamond that track, you go in with a little more speed and you drift up in the middle, and then it rotates and you get a long straightaway. Just carry more speed off the corner and at the end of the straightaway.
At this point in the run, that's exactly what you want. That hot rod's still turning. Just like you said, these tires are very temperature sensitive. If you make them mad, it's not like the old days, Jeff. You used to be able to back off of them things and then cool them off and then go. Once these things get hot, you're along for the ride. You're waiting for a pit stop to get them babies off. You wore them out.
There was a perfect example of it that last time. Chase Elliott went all the way up topside. He saw these guys in front of him. Maybe going to block that bottom.
That's why I love coming to this racetrack, because you get to see all sorts of different lines, different strategies play out in the driver's hands of where they want to run on this racetrack to get the most out of their car. Second place, Denny Hamlin, with 5 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, the fastest car on the racetrack that last time by.
Just like you said, you were talking about Kevin Harvick. I said it'd be the Pocono before he wins. Boy, choking on them words here soon.
Still got to get through Kyle Larson, though. And got a long way to go.
Got to find him. I don't even know where he's at.
He's still got 284 laps to go.
A little busy here. Tell you who really wants this stage to end is Tyler Reddick. He's the last car on the lead lap because of that speeding penalty of the competition caution, trying to stay on the lead lap at the end of the stage as we watch the battle for 4th.
Boy, seen some big balance changes. Grip going away on the 4, Kevin Harvick, also William Byron, and some of these guys that maybe took it a little easier at the beginning of the run or have a little bit better turning car coming to the front right now, like you see here with Chase Elliott.
Seems like Kevin Harvick right here. I was watching with him. He's lost another couple spots. Front tires are really falling off right here. He's waiting. He's wanting it bad. Put it out. Heard how long he was waiting to pick up the throttle right there, and then when he did, it was almost a 2-step walk, trying to get that thing to rotate a little bit.
Yeah, that's almost always waiting on the front tires.
Our leader, Kyle Larson, trouble turn 1. Briscoe in the wall, trying to stay on the lead lap. He was battling Larson hard.
He's got a flat tire.
Larson could not get by him, and Briscoe sent it in there and almost ended up in Philly.
Yeah, you could see that tire coming apart.
So that caution flag will take us to the end of stage 1. And there is the damage on Chase Briscoe's car, racing so hard to try to stay on the lead lap. They battled for
tire.
They bit into the wall. I don't know if it was because of the tire or that's why the tire cut.
Nope. I think he just sent it, Clint. Let's look here.
Racing the leader, trying hard to stay on the lead lap. Does he just get loose? Boy, that's hard to say if he just got loose or if the tire went down right at that same moment.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Car was down.
Is now.
Look how much of that tire is inside the car. You saw it in the window net right there. It's all that sticking through the holes. I guarantee you. Look at that dash. See the dashboard? If you go back to that pic, come on, Artie, get me back there. Check this out, guys. See all the foam from the right side on the dash of that car?
Yeah.
Well, I saw him throwing foam out the window.
I thought it was a towel, but it was actually the right side door foam.
I think all that foam filled up in the cockpit. I thought he was trying to get a caution, but hey, the caution was already coming out.
I need a vacuum, boys.
So this will end stage 1. Kyle Larson gets his 5th stage win of the season, tying him with Denny Hamlin for the most so far this year. And we were talking about Tyler Reddick. He did stay on the lead lap, just barely, at the end of the stage. And I believe that will make Eric Almirola the free pass car. All right, they did not open pit road this time. So we will restart with 19 lead lap cars. Saturday, MLB is back on Fox, headlined by an interleague showdown. It's the Red Sox and the Phillies, or two of the greatest rivalries in baseball. The Dodgers take on the Giants, and the Cubs face the Cards. Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area. Yeah, this is fighting Phillies country, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Might be an Oriole jersey or two in the grandstand as well. Waiting on pit stops. Pits will be open this time. Remember last time on the competition caution, William Byron and Kyle Larson drove the whole length of pit road side by side. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do here.
Yeah, it just pulls you in, Mike. It pulls you in. You just want to push a little bit further to get that position. It's pretty impressive that neither one got a speeding penalty. Regan?
You see Kyle Larson coming down pit road. That race car right now has been very good for him. He said 3 words that entire run. Really good here. He doesn't want any adjustments to that race car. The 4 car of Kevin Harvick, his race car got way too free at the end there. They need to adjust for that. And the 9 car of Chase Elliott on the upper right of your screen, he's got the fans on to cool those brakes down. Doesn't want any changes on that race car though. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin in the 11, he is rolling. Seemed like he got better as that run went on. Told his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, you gave me more security, thank you. I need a little bit more of that. They did that with an air pressure adjustment. The 12 of Ryan Blaney, his car has been good. Hasn't been on the brakes a whole lot. Said he needs a little bit more turn. They're gonna take air out of that right front tire. 4-tire stop here.
All right, here's the race off pit road, sponsored by Ram. Larson handily gets out first. Hamlin. Chase Elliott picks up a spot. Joey Logano picks up 2. Kyle Larson, stage 1 winner. Kyle Busch right now on pit road with the hood up. Kyle Busch a little later. Actually, that shot is right now. How many autographs? How many autographs you think he's signed?
He knows it.
Oh yeah.
I think he stole his fire suit.
Well, let's talk to the Kyle who's having a little better day right now.
Hey, Kyle, this is Jeff up in this Fox Sports booth. Man, looking good there. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, another stage win. Congrats on that. Looks like you and Cliff got that thing rolling. Been quite a week for you. Sprint cars, late models, now here at Dover. Tell us about the conditions, what you're seeing. I've seen a lot of different grooves, and man, getting through traffic looks tough.
Yeah, it's, I guess, typical Dover. Rubber's in pretty quickly, a little quicker than I remember. And I think as the leader, I'm best just trying to be patient around the bottom. I'm sure it's pretty tough to pass people for a handful of laps if you're not in the lead, but my car felt better throughout the mid portions of that run. Felt like I could lap people fairly easily, but at the end I think we're all kind of struggling for grip, and made it harder to kind of enter with speed and apply the throttle to the center without losing the nose or shearing the back on exit. So just gotta try and keep up with the track as the cloud cover comes in, and if the sun ever pops back out too. But all in all, my Nation Scarred Chevy is really good, so I'm happy.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us. You got some new players in the game there with Denny and the 9 behind you. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Kyle Larson, the leader, and picks up another stage win, tied for the most this season. There's a happy family. Note the Flyers cap. And look at that. Clint, is that you on that shirt?
Yes. I thank God I didn't charge by the chin in that picture.
Wait a minute. They spelled it B-O-Y-E-R.
It's perfect. It's perfect, Mike. It couldn't be any better.
Details.
Look at this one.
Hey, they spelled it right.
Yeah, I'll come get one of Daddy's beers, buddy.
Where's lot 9?
See you guys. You're on your own. There we go.
Hey, green flag.
Jeff, he's here, all the way from the back.
All the way from the back. And, I was a little surprised there. Hamlin chose that inside lane on that restart because we've seen how good the outside lane is, and that's what Chase Elliott took advantage of. Had some speeding penalties on that round of stops, James Davison.
And Josh Berry, in Josh's defense, it's his first time in a Cup car, first time with a digital dash. He got nabbed for speeding.
Yeah, no practice, no nothing.
Right.
He's learning a lot right now.
But he earned it, right? He was speeding coming in and coming off.
Right.
Both places. A lot of times, to be honest with you, you're off a light, you know, and that's maybe it's 3 lights and it should have been 2 lights. I tell you what, I didn't think anybody would have anything for Kyle Larson until this 9 car gets out here and it finally has some clean air. It'd be interesting if he can match his lap times as we go through this stage 2 right here.
Yeah, we saw with the 9 seems to get better and better as the run goes on. So he might give up a little bit to Larson here in the early portions of this run. But let's keep an eye on that gap as we run more laps.
That's a great point. Chances are you're all but wide open on the front side of a run up here when you're in that clean air. Probably not going to make that pass early on like this, but you might be able to when you get into lap traffic on into this run when they're wore out tires.
4 Mustangs in the top 10. There's Keselowski 11th, 1 spot out, and right up his tailpipe is Alex Bowman.
Yeah, boy, you know, the 2 of Brad Keselowski and that team trying to recover from last week at Darlington. Just a horrific race from start to bottom. Nothing went their way. Setup was way off, but right here today, back in the hunt. At least not like what we're used to with Keselowski, but in that 11th position.
So Regan William Byron now 10th after that round of pit stops. What's up?
Well, Mike, under that round of pit stops during the yellow flag, he came on the radio, said, "I've got my brake pedal back." Unfortunately, he just came on the radio again right now and said the pedal is back to the floor. Seems like this team may fight all day long here now.
Yeah, when that caution comes out, it just, the heat soaks into, you know, the line and really starts, as we see here happening on pit road. Oh, yeah, you see these guys. You talk about how narrow pit road is. Look at them. 5 cars just all over one another. But that 24 car right there obviously had a little bit of an issue on that stop, got a little bit behind. And maybe it had to do something with the brakes. Maybe he couldn't get that car slowed down in the box. But I think every caution that comes out and he comes down pit road, the heat is going to only cause those brakes and that brake pedal to go to the floor.
Well, you get your brake fluid. You get it hot, you get it cooked, and all of a sudden now you've got air pockets and air bubbles in there, and usually that's where your long pedal comes from.
Hey, who's been fun to watch flying his way up through the back. He's 7 laps down, but Kyle Busch is back. That car is as fast as the leaders
Fixed
right now.
it.
Whatever
Fixed
it was, when they had the hood up, they fixed it. Bell in the grandstand's going to have to find somewhere else to go sign autographs.
Could be, and it could be a plug wire. Finally had some time to check that coil pack, anything.
All right,
Moral of the story, it'd be interesting to see what he can do with this 7 laps. Cautions come out or something like that, you might get yourself back into this thing a little bit.
I was just say, Kyle Busch shows what you got. Make up those 7 laps.
He's going to have to get out of the grandstands. Got a hot rod.
He's got a spotter now.
Look, he sees himself now. He even has the official, your earplugs, man. They're legit.
Yeah, Mike, I'm looking at the RPM on Kyle Busch in the 18, and it's pretty much a mirror of cars like Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. No question, they got that problem rectified.
It's amazing, from this vantage point. This is a new deal for me, right? When you have a car like that down a cylinder, you hear it way before it. Now you got to find it. I knew there was one down a cylinder, but I couldn't find it. And finally, we locked in on Kyle Busch. Unbelievable, the difference.
Kyle Larson continues to lead. We're 20 laps into stage 2. Miles the Monster and the Monster Girls at Dover. It's the Drydene 400. Kyle Larson, here's your Coyote tractor ahead of the pack. Yes, he is. Started fourth, finished second last week, currently first. Runner-up in the point standings with 1 win and 7 top 10.
Well, he better hurry.
Don't look in your mirror.
That's actually, and if you do, that 9 car's getting bigger. As you're catching these lap cars, you're going to have to get through them quick. Chase Elliott's actually besting him a little bit on lap times.
Hamlin now fourth. He's the leading Toyota as a vibration has brought Ricky Stenhouse to pit road. And that'll take him off the lead lap.
As fast as this 1 mile high banked oval is, Mike, the last thing you want to do is have to pit under green if it's not scheduled. Because you're going to lose a couple laps easily.
We saw Chase Briscoe in the stall behind. His car was off pace with some crash damage. So on pit road, still repairing that. Joey Logano's been trying the inside on Denny Hamlin, but Hamlin has such drive off the corner on top. It hasn't worked. Here's William Byron recovering, moving past Chris Buescher for 7th.
Yeah, even though we talked about multiple groups here at Dover and it widening out a good bit, still doesn't make it much easier to pass. Gives you that opportunity, opens up the door, but boy, to complete that pass is very difficult.
I tell you what, I don't know what the Hendrick camp has done here, but fantastic job. All 4 of these cars are on point. And when I say point, I'm looking every time, Mike, when I'm at this track and used to practice here or whatever, I didn't care about any place in this racetrack other than that 5/8, the 3/4 mark right there up off the corner. It's such a pivotal, important area of this racetrack. You've got to be able to be rotating good, and I see the nose of all 4 of those cars pointing really, really good at that point.
Yeah, carry that exit speed. That's so important here.
All right, we are looking at Blaney's pit, Jamie. What are they making?
Well, Ryan Blaney is flying. His car has been almost flawless, but he did get into some debris earlier in this race. The right front headlight has a hole in it, so you saw his team. Their pit coach was down here. They came up with a game plan. They cut the perfect little rectangle of Barabon, and when they come into pit next time, they will place that over that hole to help the front end of this race car.
Okay.
Always blows my mind. The least little hole like that, I'm telling you, makes a massive difference inside that car. Feels like you're dragging a parachute, and it won't turn. It won't do anything right.
I just wouldn't take too much time on a pit stop because he's in 3rd position. I don't want to get, I think fixing that hole, I don't know how much that's going to make up for track position.
They came to win, Jeff.
Telemetry in the lower left. Steering wheel indicator and throttle.
Ooh, that tells me how good Kevin Harvick's car is right there, because I just talked about how difficult it is to pass. And I don't know, maybe Joey saw him run him down from quite a ways back, but to be able to complete that pass the way that Kevin Harvick did, that car is really getting through the center and that 5/8 mark that you talked about.
And this is what Kevin Harvick does so well at this racetrack. He diamonds really good. When I move up and try that diamond at this racetrack, I could never get the thing to turn. I was always about a tenth and a half faster just wrapping that bottom. Kevin was always very good at making the thing turn in the middle and getting wide open, making the straightaway as long as possible.
Kurt Busch in the 1 trying to break into the top 10. Austin Dillon trying to hold him off.
Pretty good battle right there. Austin Dillon, saw them last night at dinner. That new sponsorship on that car. Good looking hot rod.
That's the 1, 2, and the 3. All, I mean, there's. You know,
Did you see that? Right next to it. I know Austin Dillon doesn't want to hit. This guy get the 2 ahead of the 3, though.
Harvick's going to have to get in line.
Yeah, where's the 4?
He's in the wrong place.
Yeah. Oh, you know where he is? What was that we were looking for? Lot number 9? Well, I don't know how they're going to get past the 5.
They're going to have to floor it.
Yep.
Kind of cloudy. You know, I was thinking that when I woke up this morning, I thought it was going to be sunny out all day. This clouds, you know, heard Kyle Larson talk about it. It really plays a role in this concrete racetrack. It'll heat up when that sun comes out and get slick. Those clouds go in immediately. You pick up grip and you can do things that you couldn't do when it was hot.
William Byron continuing to work forward now on Joey Logano, traps him behind Cody Ware.
That thing is turning good. You can see at this point in the run to be wrapping that bottom that tight, good hot rod.
Kyle Larson has led more laps in 2021 than his 3 other teammates combined. You think the fans are glad to be back at Dover? You don't know the half of it. Now his driver's having a good day, all right?
Likes what he sees there, doesn't he?
He's having a better day.
Yeah.
All right.
Woke his buddy up now.
See them one another on TV.
Oh, we love having fans back at the track.
That dance hasn't stopped. We've been watching him. He's still going.
I want to see him clocking in at 8 a.m. in the morning. It's going to be a little foggy.
Kyle Larson leading teammate Chase Elliott by 3/4 of a second. Ryan Blaney third, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. Still 18 cars on the lead lap back to Bubba Wallace. I don't know if they shot that in lot 9 or if they just came from lot 9.
They came from lot 9.
Definitely was in lot 9.
Yeah.
You know, Chase Elliott was really running down. I know this is hard to believe.
Car to wall, turn 2. Oh, Josh Berry. What a shame.
No caution yet, though.
He may make it back to the pits, but he had pretty heavy contact up there.
He's going to have to get down. I don't think he's going to make it this time. Can't be too much traffic.
No space. No gap to get down.
Now the caution's out.
Yep. So really, since the first one, or second one really, was the end of stage 1, this is the first caution for cause of the race. Comes at lap 170. And Berry got up and into the wall in turn 2. We'll ride with Ricky Stenhouse through this.
something gave away right there.
It's just the right front slowly going down right there. And he didn't make heavy contact with the outside wall. But, you know, it's just really an unfortunate situation where it happened and the string of cars. There was just no way for Josh Berry to get down to the inside to make it to pit road.
So he's been driving for Junior Motorsports, but they don't have a full season deal for him. That seat is filled with a couple of drivers, including Sam Mayer, for the rest of the year. Yeah, so what do you do with Josh Berry? He gets this one opportunity here after finishing second in ARCA and second in the Xfinity race. And great, we've not seen anywhere near the last of Josh Berry. He's
better
be
get him in a car before
Well,
somebody
got a
else
right
does.
front tire down right here. Pit road was not open, but the 12's on pit road because I think he's got something going on in the right front.
Well, I think what they're doing, they want to take full
Right front's
advantage
down.
of this caution to repair that nose damage. They know the penalty will be starting at the rear of the field.
But plus that right front tire is down, Larry.
Yeah, definitely down.
And you can see the crew member had a spacer to put on that right front, Jamie.
Yeah, Larry, we showed the pit crew talking to the pit coach. They made a whole game plan, and Todd Gordon said, bring it to us now. Let's get that damage fixed up here. So they'll go ahead and put their 4 tires on that big piece of Arabon tape that they cut so meticulously. Boom, they slapped it right on the right front there to help fill that hole and have no more issues with aero.
I tell you, that was the inside of that tire was cut down right there, and they put that spacer on. I'd say they had a little bit of a rub maybe.
Well, it could be
From the
that, and
inside.
we're hearing a lot about brake temperature. Is it
Yeah, see, that's-
possible?
I don't think the run was long enough for brake temperature. Them putting that spacer on tells me they had a little bit of a rub. They probably saw the stops before that and decided to do it. And man, talk about timing. Unfortunate for Josh Berry, but very fortunate. That saved a race car for them.
Regan?
Well, Kyle Larson for the first time all day wanting an adjustment for that race car. Just a little bit too loose this run on entry for his liking. His teammate in the number 4 car, Kevin Harvick, that race car is too loose as well right now. You see him on the left side of the screen. And Chase Elliott, his race car, still not sure what he wants any different because it's so good he doesn't know what he needs to get up there and get past the 5. Jamie.
Denny Hamlin said he just needs better turn. He said it took forever, it seemed, to make it turn. So Chris Gabehart said we're taking a big swing at it here to get it to turn, trying to keep up with the track as it goes on. So 4 tires here, air pressure as well. The 22, Joey Logano, they've taken some swings at it today to make the car better, and he's been fighting the same thing as the 11, just won't turn. Ooh, close by the 48 and the 22 there, Mike.
Yes, it was. Very few changes in our race off pit road. 173 laps completed. Dover, we're under caution. check in on Clint's Stage 2 game. If you tried to win Clint's money, who did you pick for best finishing position in Stage 2? Well, if you didn't pick Kyle Larson, why not? Oh, this guy?
This guy did. You know who he picked.
Hey, his guy's on the list.
Oh, his phone's going to ring, and she's not going to be happy.
100% it's going to be the wife.
All right, the free pass went to Cole Custer. Corey LaJoie had an uncontrolled tire penalty. And we are back under green.
Inside line really has trouble. Very hard to time it and then get your tires underneath of you and not spin.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick might come from that third row on the outside and get by Hamlin. Not quite, though. Ooh, man, that
close there with William Byron.
Yeah.
This situation right here is so hard on low tire pressure right here. Your car's loose, pulling that thing off in the corner, driving it off in there with Kevin Harvick right on your outside. Very, very, very tricky to do.
Wow.
You see he beat him to the throttle.
What a power move there by William Byron.
So fast.
And here comes another HMS car, the 48 there of Alex Bowman, going to put some heat on Kevin Harvick.
Hendrick Chevy's first, second, fourth, and sixth.
How about this fight back for Amarola? Remember, he got the free pass not too long ago. Now he's working, trying to get in the top 10 and 11th spot.
Definitely got the car a lot better. All it takes is those adjustments. And you talked about this, you know, having to build, digging yourself out of that hole. You know that they don't know that car very much. It certainly probably hasn't been on the track. So trying to figure out what it needs, making some quick adjustments, getting him what he needs, and obviously right back in the thick of things.
Chris Buescher still in the thick of it. His 17 has run more laps in the top 10 today than in his previous 10 starts here.
I don't think you can say enough about the job that they're doing. It's just week in and week out. Consistency pays off. And I tell you what, they're doing a great job. And I hate to say the word overachieving, but honestly, they really are from your expectations.
Well,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
I think it's okay to say that because of the results that we've seen from that team over the last couple of years. We're used to Roush Fenway being very dominant many years ago, but they haven't been that way. So this is very refreshing for Chris Buescher and this race organization to start to show some speed week in and week out.
Definitely changed my opinion and my attitude towards it for sure.
Brad Keselowski had an off week last week in Darlington, and way up the hill when Martin Truex there.
I don't know if they got into one another, but it was close.
It was almost like that situation we saw with Bubba Wallace and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. earlier, where maybe the two-car Keselowski had a little bit of a moment and the 19 reacted. Yeah,
two got loose.
Yeah, the two came up the racetrack, and Martin Truex Jr. just was reacting to that, I believe.
He kind of drove in on his door right there. Two got loose underneath of him.
He might have known what was coming.
I'll tell you what it is. The sun's out.
Yes.
This car's getting slick.
That'll change things. Jamie?
That's exactly what's happening. This weather conditions are definitely driving these crews crazy. The two of Brad Keselowski before that stop said the balance was better. Air pressure was too high on the restart, so they dropped it a little bit. Now he's reporting, as you guys saw, he's loose.
Well, if it's too high on the restarts, he's chasing long run speed. My car falls off a little bit too much. All right, let me go down on the air pressure. Probably going to hurt you on the front side, but it'll last longer.
I tell you, nothing would drive you crazier, not just as a driver, but as a crew chief, when that sun is going in and out on this concrete racetrack. How do you keep up with the conditions and the changes? Because you know, you basically got to play the clouds, Mike. You got to look at those clouds and figure out what you think the conditions are going to do over the next run and make your adjustments accordingly and hope that that cloud's there for you.
And looking off to the west, we're going to be sun and shade back and forth all day long with scattered big clouds.
And it does, man. It plays in your hand one time, and then the next time it doesn't. Where it really becomes interesting is at the end of this race. You know, at these stage breaks and stuff like that, when the money's on the line, which side of this are you on?
In my opinion, too, you know, we talk about concrete, right? Doesn't seem to be as temperature sensitive, but when the rubber lays down on this racetrack, to me, that rubber is affected by the sun, probably more so than the actual concrete surface itself.
That's a great point. It seems like you obviously put more down because it's hot, because it's slick, you're scrubbing tire, but definitely way slicker.
So you adapt. Watch Austin Dillon. He was hooking the bottom in 3 and 4. And look what he does down here. Gets right down in turn 1. And last time he went almost all the way up to the wall and then diamonded it back in turn number 2. He's got traffic ahead now.
Well, what I like about that is he's searching around this racetrack. He's trying to find something. And it's amazing, this racetrack. You can be on the bottom and feel like, hey, that's the most grip my car has. And all of a sudden you go, I'm going to go around this lap car and I'm going to move up high. And now you realize there's more grip up top, but sometimes it only lasts a few laps and you got to move back down to the bottom.
That is such a good point and such a valid point. You start running up there and your crew chief's in your ear immediately. You see it. I know it felt good. Lap times are better. But in the back of your mind, you're pulling on that wheel, scrubbing. I know it's 2/10 faster, but I'm going to pay the price here in about 10 laps. I'm going to be about a half a second slower overall. Yeah. That's a hard thing to determine in the race car. The other thing, going back to the sun, when that's slick down there, that rubber's up, you're going to move up, try to make this, a bigger racetrack and not pull on that wheel as hard.
Now, you bring up a good point. When you run the higher line, the amount of speed you carry into the center of the corner, your usually wheel input is there, and it scrubs that right front, builds that right front pressure up, and it just, makes the car go away much faster to try to run that high line.
7th is the best battle on the racetrack. Joey Logano and Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski closing right up on them. I was saying earlier, as they go side by side, Keselowski had an off day last week at Darlington. It turns out they had to make some personnel changes, and some parts and pieces got into the race car not as they would have liked, they found out on Monday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a product of, hey, I think it was COVID protocol, but you got your crew chief and your car chief weren't available that weekend, made a mistake on the old hot rod, and, man, it'll bite you. In this competition, the least little thing can end your day.
Wow, Eric Almirola in the top 10. That's good to see, but now Austin Dillon has gone past still. Eric right there.
Whoa, look at this, teammates. Brad Keselowski up the racetrack. Man, that was so close.
And here comes Dillon flying into the corner saying, I want a piece of this.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and see, and we're going to watch it right here. So you see Brad has a run on his teammate Joey Logano, goes into the corner. The car's going to get loose. Yeah, just gets loose.
Into the teammate.
Oh, and you could see a little bit.
And that'll
of
be
damage.
interesting if that cuts his tire down. It'll be an awkward Monday.
Oh, man. It doesn't look like it's rubbing that left rear tire, but boy, it did push it in.
So you were saying earlier how when you're the outside car, how you can feel that coming. Do you feel it? Do you hear it? Is a combination of
all the above on that one right there. The other thing is you don't expect it. It's your teammate, so now it's just natural. You're already competitive with one another anyway. Something like that happens, boy, Monday morning gets interesting.
Close call for Team Penske right here. halfway in the first state, Dover, Delaware. 200 laps complete.
I tell you
Kyle
what,
Larson has led most of them.
Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, and Brad Keselowski are not in that order. Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Austin Dillon, they finally got it in order. 1, 2, 3, baby.
So you're saying that Kevin Harvick has to back up three
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I guess you just don't see that very often on the leaderboard.
I'm going to tell you who's about to get it in order, and that's Hendrick Motorsports. This is Alex Bowman going after Denny Hamlin. If he gets that position, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 for Hendrick Motorsports.
Might get a picture on Rick Hendrick somewhere here. He's got a big grin on his face. I can promise you that.
And I tell you what, Alex Bowman, this 48 team, Greg Ives, they've had to work for this.
Yep.
He was not this good about 50, 60 laps ago.
That's a good point. And that's a benefit of having those teammates out there hauling the mail. Hey, what's the old 9 and a 5 ball got in it? Let's change our air pressures around, make those adjustments. Give me some of that.
They got hot rods, that's all I can say.
Right now, what the 48 has is a mirror full of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin made a move on him a lap ago, and it may take him a lap or two here to regroup. Earlier, we heard about brake issues for William Byron and possibly Alex Bowman, but no talk of that recently.
Clean air will fix that. And maybe they pulled some tape finally on these brake ducts for these guys too. Finally got enough air in there to keep these brakes a little cooler.
And there's more to the cut and paste saga of Ryan Blaney's repairs. Jamie.
I did get to the bottom of it. Jeff, you just mentioned the brake ducts. Well, on that right front side of Blaney's car, we wondered, how did it cut the tire? This is a crush panel from the 14, came off and went through the side, the right front side of the 12 car of Blaney, cut the tire, cut the brake hoses, so it overheated that front brake, and that really cost him.
Well, now
There went my theory.
But that explains why he got to pit road so fast. He saw that and felt that he ran over that debris, and it instantly cut that right front tire. So that was what allowed the 12 to get on pit road as quick as he did.
A lot bigger hole, a lot bigger problem than we thought right there. Big chunk of debris.
And he's our last car on the lead lap. So right now, fighting to stay on that lead lap. If they can do that, he had a fast race car, so maybe they can get that car back up front.
But we talk about temperature and things like that. I mean, that's such an important part. Those brake ducts, obviously they keep the brakes cool, but they also keep your tires cool. Not having those, and that's all compiles to a pretty big issue.
Now, the other car involved there, Chase Briscoe, went to the garage area with mechanical difficulty. And when that happens, you're not on the damaged vehicle policy, so you can take your time, take as much time as you need to fix it, repair it. Now he's back out there 50 laps down.
Okay.
Never
That's
give
a
up.
great explanation, Mike.
Never give up.
It does definitely make me scratch my head of what the mechanical was.
Mike, you talked about Hendrick Motorsports running 1, 2, 3, 4. The last time we were here, race number 2 of August, they had 3 that, I know they didn't win the race, but they had 3 drivers finish in the top 5. So they kind of just picked up right where they left off the last time we raced here.
True. With Chase Elliott out early. I did not realize that Hendrick Motorsports is the youngest multi-car team in the field. Average driver age of 26.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you look at their driver lineup, and they are planning for the future over at Hendrick Motorsports. And it's hard to believe Chase Elliott now is the kind of the leader of that group at what? 26 years old?
And it took him a little bit of time. There was some growing pains there. Jeff, you left, Jimmy left. I mean, you're talking huge, big time.
Dale Jr.
Big Dale Jr., champions of the sport, huge names. And to be able to get all that wrapped back up took a couple years, but man, they have a driver lineup better than about anybody right now.
All right, so as Kyle Larson works traffic further on the Chase Briscoe situation, he did have crash damage, as we saw when he got up into the wall in turn 1. They made a pit stop. They got him back out on track and up to minimum speed. When that happens, the damaged vehicle clock stops. Then they had a mechanical issue, went to the garage, fixed it. Now they're back out, and it's not going to matter because he's still 50 laps down.
Aha.
Look at this battle. This is what you don't want to see if you're Rick Hendrick. Hey, boys, you can race each other 1, 2, 3, 4, but not that close. That was very tight quarters.
Well, I know that Kyle Larson is in with the team. That was Jimmy Johnson's team, but that 48 car, how many times have we seen that car dominate here at Dover with Jimmy Johnson behind the wheel? I tell you what, well, Alex Bowman making that Ally 48 Chevrolet come to the front. We might see some more dominance out of that 48 if he keeps running like this.
Showman talked to him in the pre-race as he walked by. I told him, man, I picked you. Get on it.
And Jeff, here's a Larry McNugget for you. The last time Jimmy won here, 2017, guess who ran second to him? Kyle Larson.
Oh.
95 complete in stage 2. 25 to go in the second stage. All this month, fans who are vaccinated or pledged to make a COVID vaccine appointment can visit NASCAR.com/VAX and enter to win tickets to the next Daytona 500. To register for a vaccine appointment, visit vaccines.gov or text your zip code to GetVax 438829. They were giving vaccinations here at the track at Dover this weekend, and if you go to Talladega Super Speedway and get your vaccination, you can drive a couple laps on the track. How cool.
Yeah. I retweeted that. I thought that was awesome to be able to take laps around the racetrack for getting a vaccination. Very cool. Or you could just get tested for COVID.
19 cars are on the lead lap. Let's give you a look at them here with 177 to go. Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott in close formation here as the Hendrick cars run 1, 2, 3, 4. Larson, Elliott in second. Alex Bowman in third. He is 3.8 seconds back.
Three seconds back, but he was about a tenth, almost a tenth and a half faster than our leader that last lap.
And William Byron in fourth after leading 21 laps early. The first non-Hendrick Camaro in the race is Denny Hamlin.
And how consistent has Denny Hamlin been this year? Hasn't gotten that victory, but man, he is always in the top 5 like he is right now.
Kevin Harvick is the first Ford. He is 6th, 8 seconds back. Back in 7th, Kurt Busch's Camaro. Here's Regan.
Well, Mike, that race car right now, just a little bit tight in the center for Kurt Busch. He's been working on his brake adjuster, had too much front brake, felt like that was causing the race car to get tight, and then would cause it to get loose off of the corner where the back would slide out. Spoke to his crew chief, Matt McCall, this morning. He basically told me to cut and paste everything he said last week about what they needed. They just needed a good run. He said the team's still pumped up, but man, they have had some terribly bad luck.
Brad Keselowski coming into the picture in his Penske Mustang. He's in 8th, 10 seconds back. And we go 1, 2, 3. Austin Dillon in 9th place in his Childress Camaro.
Nice job by RCR. Tyler Reddick just right behind him in 11th.
And Eric Almirola, you know, top 10 run right here. Went a lap down, got that back, battled back, needed a good run, right? Very solid run, exactly what they're looking for.
And behind him, Tyler Reddick, Regan.
Well, Tyler Reddick right now is very loose with the race car, but he's been working on his lines, in particular on entry. A guy that we typically see on the top side of the racetrack as he goes to the top right now has been moving all around this racetrack trying to find the grip.
After leading 16 laps early, Martin Truex now seems mired in 12th place.
Still loose. The center of the corner is still tight, but everywhere else is loose. Loose landing, backing up the hill. Tight center. Loose trying to get it pointed back down the hill. Copy. Still loose.
Martin Truex Jr., one of those drivers we thought would come out and dominate, but they had that lug nut stuck in the jack at the very start of this race. Then he had damage on the nose. You see where they repaired it there. And on the last stop, they went up on the track bar, and Martin said, "What the heck did you do to this thing? It's terrible." So you heard him there. He's getting loose, guys. So they just haven't been able to go anywhere since they were shuffled back there in that 12th position.
Oh. And that's where he sits, 15 back, 19 seconds back. Ross Chastain just needs to have a good, solid day today. And that's just what he's doing.
Yeah, I think, a lot of high expectations, at least from me, for Ross Chastain. Finally getting that opportunity with Chip Ganassi Racing and get behind the wheel of a quality Cup car, because we've seen what he can do when he's behind the wheel of a good race car in the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series. Finally starting to get a pretty solid run here to build on.
At 14th place, Daniel Suarez trying to take it to Joey Logano, who restarted 7th and has been fading.
Okay, now if I'm going to say overachievers, I'm going to say right here, this 99 of Daniel Suarez, Travis Mack, that crew chief, Trackhouse Racing with Justin Marks has put together a great group of people, and working with Richard Childress Racing with those cars and engines and that alliance, and I think they're making a lot out of it.
Can't say enough about them, week in and week out. I mean, you talk about startup teams. Startup team, the comparable to the 23 car, they are outperforming them tenfold.
Chris Buescher hanging tough in 16th, Regan.
Well, so very good at the beginning of the race, Mike, but they've lost the handling just a little bit on that race car. The nose of the race car is not turning like he wants it to. He's actually getting chatter out of the front tires in the center of the corners. Very difficult when your car's chattering.
Cole Custer has made the most of the free pass back at the last caution. He's in 17th, staying on the lead lap. And Ryan Blaney rebounding after repairs to the right front corner after he ran over a piece of trash that came off another car, a crush panel. Then the last car on the lead lap is Bubba Wallace, 23 seconds back in 19th. Thanks, Bubba, for wearing the Fox visor cam this week. Show you what Dover's really like. He is last on the lead lap.
Right there.
Yeah, wow.
Throttle on and off, steering wheel back to the right, sliding off the corner. But I tell you what, he's had an eventful day. We've showed him several times in some close calls as he's been racing really aggressively, and great job of him staying on the lead lap.
You go back to the in-car of listening to Martin Truex. You can tell by his heart rate and his voice how loose that thing was. I'm telling you, the workload, when your car's loose and you're on the verge out of control, it is wild in there.
But I feel for James Small right now. How do you fix that? How do you fix a car that's super loose getting in the corner and really tight in the center?
Well, that's a great question. And how many times, Jeff, have you tried too hard? That is a thing. When you have a car that's not turning, the front end's not turning, and you take the rear end out of the track, raise that track bar up, you heard him in his voice, man, what did you do to this thing? You have just made it worse. Sometimes you just got to take what you have.
That's a good point.
Ricky Stenhouse is 2 down in 22nd. Eric Jones is also 2 laps down in the 43. And there's the free pass car, Ryan Preece. Nobody is 1 lap down, so Preece is 20th. He's in the free pass position after running the modified tour race last night at Riverhead, Long Island. Had a flat tire, got into the wall. Doug Coby won the race out on the island at the head.
Ryan Preece is such a good race car driver. So fun to watch him run them modifieds. I tell you what, you need a guy to get up on the wheel. You don't have to look for any further than Ryan Preece.
Bubba Wallace, last lap of this stage, staying on the lead lap.
Run, run, run. That is the leader in the mirror. Look at that car digging on the bottom.
And Wallace will hang on to the lead lap as Kyle Larson wins stage 2.
I hope you picked him if you think you're coming after my money. It's over.
It's the 4th time that Kyle Larson has led the 2 in-race stages in a Cup race. Welcome back to Fox NASCAR, presented by Credible.com. End of stage 2. 6th time that Kyle Larson has led more than 155 laps in a Cup race. And we thought it was going to be Martin Truex, who would absolutely dominate here. Truex did lead the first 16 laps, but since then, he has been hanging right between 10th and 13th position.
Look at these guys. Hey, this guy's happy right here on the right. Well, both of them are pretty happy because Almirola's made a nice comeback. But you see that Kyle Larson shirt there, enjoying being up there and being our leader right now.
Happy to be back at the racetrack.
And the young fellow with the Tyler Reddick shirt, he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chevrolet showing some strength right there at the end of that second stage.
Top 4 positions, 7 of the top 10. With Hamlin's Toyota, Harvick and Keselowski's Fords. 19 cars on the lead lap. And we will stay that way because the free pass car is Preece and he is 2 laps down. We'll go to pit road and Regan.
Well, the very first pit box is going to be that of William Byron. That race car right now, it's a little bit too free as he runs for him. He's still having to continue to manage those brakes some, especially early in the runs. Your leader, Kyle Larson, that race car was better this run. Very concerned, though, that the 9 was better on the long run than he was. They're going to make an adjustment to give him grip on the long run. And the 9 of Chase Elliott, not a word on the radio. No complaints at all from him. Jamie?
11 of Denny Hamlin says he's really good overall. Close on balance. They went back and forth if they should make an adjustment or just have a fast, clean stop here. The 48 said, guys, I need a good stop here. The car has been really good, especially in clean air. The 48 team's been class of the field most of the season. Let's see if they get it done. Wipe the grill. No adjustments for Alex Bowman.
Here's your Ram race off pit road. Larson beats Bowman, who picks up 1 from his teammate Elliott. Kurt Busch up 2. Nice stop.
Well, Bowman got that stop. Not quite enough to get the lead, but still got him up to second. Nice job, Kurt Busch.
Long stop for Logano, doing a bit of nose repair to his 22.
Let's dial up on Chase Elliott, man. I guarantee if he saw that fan in the stand, he'd be pumped up. Let's see what he's got here. Hey, Chase Elliott, Boyer, Gordon, Mike Joy up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Man, got a pretty good piece here. You see that 5 car? He's close. Think you can get to him?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've read that back bumper, but hopefully I can figure out a way here. Obviously, you know, have another spot to try to get here now. But yeah, really been fairly happy with the car. Just trying to find that little bit to make the right moves.
Well, man, good luck here. It's going to be exciting. You guys are putting on a show. The Hendrick boys are looking good.
Sweet, appreciate it. Y'all have fun.
Oh, we're having fun, and so are these Chase Elliott fans.
Can Chase Elliott score his first victory of 2021 today? We'll find out. $9 apiece. Almost 1,100 players went 6 for 6 playing Fox Bet Super 6 and split $10,000 of Clint's money pending verification of eligibility. Well done.
Gonna have to strengthen my questions up a little bit here.
Hey, look at that guy. Hey.
Hey, there's Cowboy.
How did he get up here?
Yeah.
Oh, no. My.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. Hey, look at that.
Gosh, it's so fun to see kids at the racetrack.
Dad, don't explain it to him. Just don't. Kyle, by the way, is still out there. I mean, they are doing yeoman's work. He is still 7 laps down, but the car is back to speed. He's 29th. Kyle Larson takes off on the restart.
See Chase desperate, trying to hold on to that outside of his team. Oh, got tight, had to bail out of the gas.
3 wide behind them going into turn 3.
Look out.
Oh, that normally doesn't work too well
Whoa,
here.
thinking
Reddick
4
was
wide.
thinking about 4.
See those cars come popping up out of that hole, and that's exactly what it feels like as you crest that hill.
Oh, there's a 2-car. Keselowski getting loose again underneath the race car. This time, Kevin Harvick.
He's got his hands full. That was big time loose there.
Tyler Reddick on the inside. There's that, and here comes Almirola. Wow.
Pretty big block right there. Martin on Eric. These guys are getting after it, huh?
Yeah.
Getting closer to the pay window.
We've
Show you
seen
that
this
one again.
before. Out of Brad Keselowski turns down to the bottom. That car just as it loads, the back end wants to come around. This time he did a little bit better job staying out of the left side of Kevin Harvick.
Definitely light on his feet getting into the corner.
Saw Alex Bowman just take off on that restart. Actually had a run at our leader Kyle Larson down the back straightaway, but now falls back into the clutches of that 24, William Byron.
If I'm them guys right now, I'm just going to try to ride and hopefully beat this 5-car in traffic on a long run. I don't think you have any chance of beating him on this short half, the first 15 laps or so of these runs.
Yeah, don't over abuse your tires trying to put a ton of pressure on them in those first few laps. I agree with that, Clint. Unless you got a legit, and I think that's what Bowman was thinking there. He thought he might have a legitimate shot of getting position on Kyle Larson and went for it right there. And then since then, he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep some clean air to the nose. How about Kurt Busch now into the top 5?
Yeah, good. Obviously, good pit stop there. Boys helped him out, getting up there in that track position and really getting.
Did a nice job choosing that outside lane. Remember, that's the choose rule. When they come down to that start-finish line with 1 to go, they get to choose inside or outside. And Kurt Busch chose the right lane in that outside that time.
You know, and Alex Bowman did a good job on that restart on the bottom. I mean, you're such at a disadvantage being down there because of the track is slicker down there. They have the momentum on the outside, and you have to respond to that leader when he goes.
It's so easy to, when you respond, to spin those tires, especially 750 horsepower.
Well, he's already on the throttle. You're trying to react to that. He's already a beat ahead of you, and then you get on the gas trying to keep up and spin the tires.
Now back at 15th and 16th, Joey Logano, who had a long stop, and right behind him, Daniel Suarez. Jamie.
Daniel Suarez started this race 24th. I talked to him before he got in his race car. He said, I love this place. He's had 4 top 10s here. He won the Xfinity Series race here in 2016. I said, what would you be happy with today? He said, we can be a top 10 car. They just told him he has top 6 speed right now. If they could just keep it clean and keep knocking him off, they've been slowly moving their way forward.
Well, let's show you where the Coca-Cola family of drivers are in the field at 144 laps to go. Denny Hamlin 8th, Austin Dillon top 10. We mentioned Logano and Suarez 15th and 16th, and Ryan Newman back at 23rd, 3 laps back after a top 10 last week in Darlington.
Pretty stout family of drivers, the old Coke family always has been.
Jamie?
Update Joey Logano. He's been mired back just a little bit. It's hard to see from here. I know our camera guys do an incredible job, but he too has a huge hole punched right in the middle of his grill. That's been affecting the handling. They finally realized every time they put tape on was coming off, and it's because of that. Great camera work right there, guys, but that's definitely been hurting his turn in the center. That's been his biggest complaint.
Well, and we saw when that tape came off right before the end of stage 2. He dropped about 8 spots within a few laps, so that must have been that tape coming off the grill and how much that's affecting the front downforce and overall downforce of that 22 car.
And Logano without his crew chief this week, one of several drivers. 140 laps to go. This final stage may likely include green flag pit stops. We'll see. Welcome back to Dover. Here's our Credit One Bank one to watch.
Yeah, one to watch. Mike, this is going to be really easy. Last time that Kyle Larson was here in Dover in 2019, he won, and he's going to win today.
I put a lot of thought into this. I decided to roll the dice. I'm going with Kyle Larson in the 5 car.
Hey, it's my pick, boys. Kyle Larson. Why would you think anything different? The only person that's going to beat Kyle Larson today is Kyle Larson.
Clint, I've been in this pit box all day long, barely heard a word. It's Kyle Larson all the way today.
4 times he swept both stages, didn't get to victory lane. 5 times he's led over 155 laps, didn't get to victory lane. Do you think today's the day? And that's our Credit One Bank one to watch. Hope you enjoyed it.
How can
Did you
pick
say
anybody
ones
else?
or one to watch?
just one, Larry. Just one. Meanwhile, his teammates are fighting it out here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Alex Bowman, William Byron, Chase Elliott, all within 4 seconds of the lead.
Yeah, it's actually a great race back here. It's just not for the lead.
It's just not Kyle Larson.
Can't see him in the picture.
Man, you bring up a good point, Clint. All over this racetrack all day long. Maybe it's not been up front for the lead, but we have seen tremendous racing. I think this this package, the low downforce, higher horsepower, and the tire that Goodyear's brought here is really making this track widen out. Lots of passing, lots of great action.
Well, I said it in the pre-race. You know, you talk about sensation of speed, the workload on the drivers. You flat haul the mail around this place. And when you're doing that, it's very hard to be door-to-door with somebody. We've seen it with Brad Keselowski and things like that. Very, very challenging going the speeds that you do at Dover to be dicing it up.
Well, Clint thinks it must be time to crank it for Kyle, because that's what we're going to do.
And 4. 2 back. 1 back on bottom. And only 3 between you and the leader. He's a straightaway back. They move to the same both ways. All clear. 5 back to the 00. About half a 25 green. Copy. It's right here. About 2 back. And clear. Slow. Clear. Starting to pull away from the 6, catching the 14 again. 23 just went by him. 17's going by him now. He's running all the way at the top. Lane 4. Half back lane 4. He's not for position, by the way. Still clear by 1. Slow car up ahead with damage. You see him. Clear. Clear all around. 47 coming with you. Clear. Clear. Half back with a big run. Out of line inside. Inside 47. By himself. Clear. Clear by 1. Clear. Got 1 more here. 2 in a row up top. 53, 52. Clear all around. All clear. Clear the first one. Still there. Still there. Clear.
Lap 283 at Dover International Speedway. A Hendrick house cleaning. Rick Hendrick's 4 Camaros have been in positions 1, 2, 3, 4 for the last 80 laps now. But change is going to come because green flag pit stops may be on the horizon And that's the chatter on all the radios. Brad Keselowski talking about green flag versus a caution flag stop.
All right, I finally have the same stability as they do, but they have more turns. The last run I had the same turn, but less stability. You catch my drift? Would you rather have the front turn or stability? Yellow flag, I want front turn. Green flag stop, I want stability.
I love that conversation right there. Great question to ask, Brad Keselowski, because it does change. When you're under caution, you're going to be in traffic and you're taking off on a restart. The car is going to handle different. You're in around other cars that are knocking the air over the top of your car, so it's not going to handle the same. So you're going to want something completely different, more front turn. But under a green flag stop, you come out, you're in clean air up to speed, and that car's going to turn much better. And there's where you want the stability that Brad was asking for.
That's good communication from anybody, especially a fill-in crew chief. Brad obviously was giving great feedback of what he needed, but that crew chief stepped in there and asked the right question to get the right result.
The track takes rubber, the track gives it up. Regan.
Well, Mike, that's something else we got to keep in mind. If we have green flag stops here, we will not have the rubber picked up off the racetrack like we normally do. This tire we're looking at right here is one that came off under yellow. You can see how all that rubber adheres to that tire. Green flag stops, that doesn't happen. Also makes you want to adjust the car differently.
There's nothing worse. What you see right there, how about a caution comes out at the end of these things and you try to take off on old tires?
That's
you
what
have
I was
to get
gonna
them
say.
cleaned up, man. It's like being on marbles when you drive off into
That's what I was going to say. I don't think there's a worse racetrack than this one here at Dover of if you have hot tires and you don't pit. Let's say you only have a few laps on those tires, you decide to stay out, but you've now picked up all that rubber and you go down to the first corner. You better not be side by side.
No.
You're gonna use 8 tires.
You need the whole racetrack.
Well, let's check in with our crew chief and see what he's mulling over for this next stop, Larry.
Yeah, well, the thing I'm looking at is if we stay green, when do you make the green flag pit stop? I go back to our PNC race strategy. If you split this stage in half, they're going to pit somewhere around lap 320 to 325, which is 75 to 80 laps to go, which is still a few laps from now. But I think, going back to that strategy again, if your car is pretty decent, do you roll the dice and try to run it out as far as a fuel run? That way you can go about another 20 or 25 laps, and you hope to get a caution, and you put guys that have pitted under green down a lap. I think you might see two different theories here if we indeed get that far under green.
Well, one thing that I'm seeing, Larry, that's a lot different than what we had last week at Darlington. We saw 2-3 seconds of fall off during a run at Darlington. So when somebody pits, you've got to get in right away. Here it's about a second, maybe second and 2 or 3 tenths of fall off over this run so far at this point. So having to jump down pit road as fast as somebody else does, not quite as important. You can stretch it out there, stay out there a little bit longer, hope you catch a caution. Not a long time, but a little bit longer.
And those cautions may come at a track like this.
Yeah.
This is a very tricky pit road and things like that on the entrance. You could very easily get a caution.
Usually by somebody trying to get to pit road.
Yeah, right. Haven't seen much of that today. The only caution for cause was when Chase Briscoe cut a tire and got up and into the turn 1 wall. Otherwise,
let's
just the
talk
state
about
brakes.
why those cautions come out too. Jeff, we talked about this earlier in the week. You are going so fast. I've said that time and time again. You're going so fast on this racetrack, and we saw it in the pre-race with Matt Kenseth. I'll never forget that day. When you dip down off this concrete surface on the asphalt, it's like you're on ice, and you slip and slide around. So that being said, you have to do all of the stopping. When I say stop, you're going from 120, 30 mile an hour out there down to 35 mile an hour pits, and you have to pretty much do that on the racetrack. Recipe for disaster.
And so if you do that on the racetrack, now you know what happens? You're looking in your mirror. Is anybody coming? Do they know you're coming to pit road? Because the last thing you want to do is be hard on the brakes while that guy's coming in the corner 150, 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't surprise the guy behind you. Make sure your spotter's up there waving. Make sure you're waving. Make sure that guy knows that you're fixing to slam on the brakes when you get into turn 3.
Tyler Reddick, 10th place, 14 seconds off the lead, and one of 7 Camaros in the top 10.
Yeah, there's Richard Childress right there. Owner of that race team. I tell you what, Chevys came to play here in Dover today.
Likes what he's seeing. Got both his cars in the top 10 right there. Doing a great job.
Dillon 9th, Reddick 10th. And separated by about a second and a half. We're going to use our Fox Ghost car to show you the drop-off between new tires and tires that have aged 45 laps later.
You can just see the speed difference, man. There's no better feeling for fresh feel goods at this racetrack.
I mean, you know, kind of going back to my point, yes, there's no doubt there's a difference. But remember last week at Darlington when we tried to show this, they weren't even in the screen. I think we went through the first corner and the car at older tires was just gone out of the screen.
Yeah, great point.
And there's another difference. I think when we started this stage, it was still pretty cloudy. Now the sun's back out again. How about Alex Bowman in second place, 4 seconds back? Jamie?
What an impressive run for this 48 team. The last 3 weeks they finished 17th or worse. They really hoped to have a run like this today. Right now he's just saying he's too free. He moves up the racetrack to tighten it up, but it's so hard on his tires, so he's running the bottom there. Said when they stop next time, he just needs some rear stability. And they just told him, hey, sun is out. Let's see what the balance does here.
Well, if you can predict what the weather's going to do, then you can adjust to it. But man, it's hard to predict these clouds. All of these, got some big puffy clouds just coming in and out. A little bit of hazy clouds on top of that too. So even if it's not a full cloud that comes over, there's like a piece of one that just creates kind of a haze over this racetrack.
You know, Jeff, just to put a period on the fall off on that 80-lap run we had early in the race from the competition caution end of stage 1, it was about a second and a half, second 3/4. 80 laps at Darlington, that would have been, to your point, maybe up to 4 seconds a lap difference.
Oh no, not Eric Almirola.
Turn 4.
Man, I just feel for him and this race team. They just cannot catch a break. Clearly right front tire went down, Clint.
Definitely what it looks like.
Fifth caution of the day comes out at lap 3:01. He was running 13th on the lead lap.
Man, I feel bad for him. All of them. So he goes in the corner.
That's coming off of turn 2 down the back straightaway into turn 3. As soon as it loads in those bumps.
Oh, yeah. Long for the ride.
And
now it's on fire. That's insult to injury. Why not? Now it's going to catch on fire and burn to the ground. Man, they've taken a beating. Get it out, boys. They need that car. There's still something left. Uh-oh.
You can see.
I knocked the wind out of him.
He said on the in-car radio that was quite a hard hit. The AMR safety team right there to attend to him, and the fire truck arrives. Jamie?
Yeah, he came on the radio and you could hear him. He just had to take a minute to catch his breath, and just being ginger right there, that was a big hit for Eric Almirola. We all hope that obviously he's okay. Remember, he had that huge crash at Kansas a few years ago where he broke his back and it took him a while to get back. So hopefully everything is fine there and we'll be able to talk to him if he's released from the medical center.
Those are always the worst hits too. Stoving that thing up right front first like that. It's you take the side blow and the frontal blow. It's just the worst of both cases.
And the Sabre barrier does an excellent job of absorbing some of that, but it's still, when you're traveling the speed you're traveling here, it's still going to be a big impact.
Yeah, that was a shot.
That shows you just how hard that hit was.
Pit road will be open this time. Ryan Preece will again get the free pass, but he had been lapped again, so he was 2 laps down along with his teammate Ricky Stenhouse. So he'll get the free pass and go back to 1 lap down again.
You know, Mike, as we get ready for these pit stops, the 5 team of Larson, the 48 team of Bowman, and the 9 team of Elliott in this race, all 3 pit crews have had their fastest stop of 2021, getting the job done on pit road too.
You bet. Regan.
The 24 of William Byron. That race car was better that run early, but he needs long run speed. Wants an adjustment so the car doesn't go away after 10 laps. The 5 car, Kyle Larson, your leader, they made an adjustment for long run speed. He liked it. That worked out for them. And the 9 car, Chase Elliott, his car was turning a little better for him that run. He just needs a really good stop, he said. Jamie.
Denny Hamlin's balance really good. He said on the long run, though, here, I'd like to be on the tight side, but I'm just worried how that'll hurt us on our restarts. And the 48, once that rear support here, as he talked about, he was trying to run low on the racetrack. They'll do a 4-tire stop in air pressure for Alex Bowman.
And Bowman gets out first.
How'd he beat Kyle Larson? Lean on your pit crew right there. He's gonna have to get up on it, get back around the 48. That was huge right there, guys.
It was.
96 laps to go. We're under caution for Eric Almirola into the wall in turn 4. That's team owner Rick Hendrick having the kind of day that team owners dream of. Since lap 204, he's had the first 4 positions. And just now is the first time today that Kyle Larson has lost the lead on pit road. Let's break this down.
Yeah, just watch the rear tire changer. Just, I don't know if, there was a lug nut or he was slow to get there, just a little bit behind, not much. I mean, he cleans it up, does a pretty nice job on this left side. Nothing obvious there.
It seemed like they were waiting on the jack guy too. Like, I think the jack was slow, but man, he said that second difference in the pit stop is right there, a car length.
Well, let me add to this. Little off on the 5. Remember when we did our pit crew ranking a few weeks ago, how that 48 was up there at the top of the list? They just had the fastest pit stop of any team in 2021.
Wow.
Money stop, baby.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, do it right then when it really counts.
Well, they picked the right time. In other news, Ricky Stenhouse, too fast entering pit road. Just his 2nd speeding penalty of the year. So to be 92 laps to go when we get back to green, Bowman has chosen the outside lane.
And so has Kyle Larson. And then teammate Chase Elliott, other teammate William Byron on that inside lane.
The first non-Hendrick Chevys, Kevin Harvick's Ford and Denny Hamlin's Toyota, back in row 3.
It's interesting. Larson chose the outside behind him. He's going to have to push hard. He might end up third right here.
Priest with the free pass is now just 1 lap down. We're going to listen to William Byron's team on the restart and spotter Tab Boyd.
Run. Go. Still outside. Still out there. 4. Still out there. Still at the door. Still out there at the door. Still outside, half lane. He's the only one that let him with inside 11. Just down there.
What do you think, Clayton? Think your old teammate there in the 4 has something for this Hendrick group?
Certainly flexing a little muscle right here on the restart. Did a good job of getting around William Byron. It's amazing. Look at the shot right there. See how those cars pick up that rubber, how clean that racetrack is on the bottom. It's not very long at all. I'll be right back rubber down, especially with the sun out like this and slick.
Well, and also aggressiveness. You don't know if this is the last restart you're going to get. So aggressiveness on these restarts starts to show up, and you're not going to give an inch, just like Kevin Harvick fought hard on the outside to get that spot from William Byron.
It's going to be interesting, you know, as you see these guys side by side, what Kyle Larson, how he plans to attack. You know, we talked about that before. If you're Alex Bowman and Larson was out front, do you pounce on it right now, Jeff, or do you try to hold off, wait for some lap traffic, some atmosphere later on in the run?
Yeah, well, he kind of went through this last week, right? Behind our leader, Mark Truex Jr. I know much different racetrack, but he got into those tire tracks and he overheated those tires a little bit, and you know, he wasn't able to make that move. So I guarantee you all that's running through Kyle Larson's head right now of how to approach these closing laps.
88 to go. Brad Keselowski had to start at the back. He had to make a second pit stop because they hung a lug nut in between the brake caliper and the wheel on their pit stop.
You know, we've seen today lug nuts get caught in the jack. It's unbelievable that it doesn't happen more often to these teams. When you start looking at slow motion, these pit stops, seeing these lug nuts flinging all over the place, and where they land sometimes. Whoa! Wrecking on the back straightaway.
Is that Alfredo to the inside against the wall, which yesterday seemed to collect a lot of cars and piled them up one on top of the other.
Well, and that was right. We saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. riding on board with him, and Brad Keselowski makes contact. So clearly something happened ahead of him.
In front of him, yeah.
And turn 2 there, underneath that bridge, seems to be the choke point of this racetrack. When somebody gets sideways, it's like the whole track is blocked.
Well,
I'm surprised there's only one car that's wrecked back there right now.
Man, talk about timing. We were riding with Ricky right here, perfect timing, and I was like, hey, something's wrong. Sure enough, they were wrecking.
So see, Stenhouse gets all over the rear bumper. That's one way you make a pass here, or that's another way that you do it. I don't think he expected Keselowski to come in there and make contact, though, so that may have sent Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into Alfredo with a little bit of damage.
Easy, straighten up, caution out.
He definitely dumped Alfredo. No question about it.
Alfredo left about 2 feet, 3 feet open to the bottom of that racetrack, and Ricky Stenhouse
Put that on Alfredo? It was his fault?
No, I'm saying Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tried to fill that gap that was not open enough for a race car.
And then came Keselowski and almost straightened Alfredo out. Almost.
Yep. Unfortunate, but you're back to the pinch point, what you were talking about. Obviously, that isn't the crash. Man, look at it. Got a can opener here on the right side.
Slice that bean can right open,
all the way from the right front fender to the right rear tire.
But usually off of there, there's a car underneath one, and you get loose under him like we've seen Brad Keselowski do and save it time and time again today. You get loose underneath of him, trying to stay off of him, get into him, and it all breaks loose from there. The other thing is, back to that speed that I was talking about, you cannot just stop on a dime in these cars. You are going so fast over there. When they wreck, it's almost as if it's in a lap. Look at this, boys.
Oh, this might switch some things up here.
How do you beat them guys? Let's get off cycle. Let's try something.
So Denny Hamlin leads a group onto pit road. Blaney, Chastain, Dylan Logano there, and Kurt Busch. Jamie.
Well, there's a few sets of tires still laying here, so why not take them if you need to fix your car? Denny Hamlin just really tight there landing, wanted to improve it a little bit, and they make a chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment for him.
Larry, what do you think of this after just 6 laps of green flag racing?
Mike, the only way you're going to beat Bowman, Larson, Elliott, to Clinton, Jeff's point, you're going to have to do something different. If your car's not right, it's not going to get better deeper into a run. To Jamie Little's point, you got 2 or 3 sets of fresh tires laying there. Come get them. Not a bit surprised that the guys at the front stayed out, and guys that's been struggling today got 4 tires with more adjustments.
Even an issue here for the 1 car, Kurt Busch on that stop.
And let's go down outside the care center to Regan.
Well, Eric Almirola was having a much-needed solid run today. Eric, first off, are you okay? We saw you a little ginger getting out of the race car. Second off, did it give you any kind of inkling there was a problem leading up to that?
Yeah, I'm okay. That was another hard hit. Man, my body's hurting. It doesn't want to take any more hard hits like that. Just such a trying year. I don't know what exactly happened. I think something in the suspension broke. It wasn't like a right front went down. It wasn't like all of a sudden. A couple laps before that, I felt like I was laying on the splitter pretty hard, which is unusual that far into the run. And I kind of mentioned it on the radio and then went down into turn 3, the worst possible place. Well, there's no good place at Dover to have a suspension failure or a tire go down, but our guys deserve so much better. Our partners, Smithfield, Ford, everybody, Go Bowling, Pit Boss Grills, everybody that helps us deserves so much better. We're so much more capable, but we just, God is really testing us this year.
Thanks, Eric.
Another tough break for Eric Almirola. And they'll look forward to next week. Alex Bowman, your race leader, driving that number that's had so much success here. Jamie.
And that would be Jimmy Johnson. He was the king of Dover for many, many years. 11 times he went to victory lane. That's right on the other side of this wall. And his race engineer for many of these wins right here, Greg Ives. Greg Ives, of course, is the crew chief for Alex Bowman. I talked to him today about winning here, and he said, I was in victory lane many times. I never took home one of those trophies, that Monster the Miles trophy, because I wanted to earn it myself as a crew chief. Well, right now, this is as close as he's ever been here.
He's 83 laps away from that possibility.
And think about that combination right there. Yeah. Jimmy Johnson's the driver, Chad Knaus the crew chief, and Greg Ives was your lead engineer, who's now one of the top crew chiefs out there. That's how you win a lot of races.
And the trophy the winner gets has their car in Miles' hand, just as you see it there.
Is Miles foreseeing the future here?
Full size. Now, Jeff, I want you to stop looking to the south down past Dover Air Force Base, where the skies are very, very dark.
I'm having a hard time looking past it, Mike, because my eyes are right on it, and it is getting closer.
Jeff, that's not coming this way.
Okay.
I think we're too far north for that one.
Why does it keep getting bigger in the mirror, sir?
Thank you for playing. Pay no attention to the dark clouds to the south. We've got 82 laps to. I want to see how this turns out. I want to see these 82 laps.
We're going to. It's going to be a good 82. This is a battle. Man, Hendrick Motorsports. Wow. The whole front rows, 2 of them.
The whole front 2 rows.
That's right.
4 of them.
You just see how tough it is. But this is those old tires. Watch these guys go off in the corner, really slide up the track. Oh.
Kevin Harvick taking advantage. Oh, here comes a battle. It's Kevin Harvick going to take advantage of these guys battling up front. Gets to the outside of the 5, possibly.
I tell you what that was, just enough to stall out the 48. He might get them both right here. Kevin, so the 5 of Kyle Larson was actually to the side of Bowman. It's probably going to make the pass. When the 4 got next to him, it slowed his run down, side drafting off of him, and it allowed the 48 to get on by.
If Alex Bowman was not the teammate to Kyle Larson, that might have been a different outcome going through that last corner.
Well, so 8 drivers stayed out.
Flip side of that too. If the 5 wasn't a good teammate, the 48 would have been moved out of the way.
Right. First 8 drivers stayed out on 8-lap tires as Kevin Harvick tries to upset the Chevy show here.
He can do it for a couple laps, hanging tough out there on the outside.
First car with new tires is Denny Hamlin, then Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, and Martin Truex.
And you know, to these guys up front, they had just enough cars stay out on track. It's going to make it a little bit difficult for Denny Hamlin. Some of these guys with fresher tires, they're going to burn up those tires just a little bit coming through the field to try to get to those leaders.
It's a great point. And every lap that goes by, it kind of equalizes.
This right here is going to show you just how difficult it is to pass here, how much aerodynamics plays a role in these long corners here at Dover, because that 23 of Bubba Wallace is on older tires, and you can see making it very difficult for Denny Hamlin to make that pass. Normally, he'd just blow right by him.
And you can tell, listen to the in-car right here. You can tell this thing's pretty light on its feet. As soon as he bailed out of the gas right there the least little bit, that 11 car was all over him.
The first 8 drivers are on older tires, but it won't take long for the advantage of the new tires to equal out.
No, you build that air pressure up very fast to that right front tire when you're in the position Denny Hamlin is right now.
Caution, debris on the front straightaway.
See a brake hose.
Could be off of, well, it could be off any, but that 12 car had those issues with the ductwork, may have finally fell out.
7th caution of the day, lap 326.
Now what do you do, Larry?
Stay out.
Those that stayed out, stay out again. You know, you know, if we ran a number of laps, but that was only 6 green flag laps there since that last caution. So no way those top 5 or 6 come to pit road, because right now they have a total of 2 runs, a total of 11 green flag laps on their tires.
So you have 19 lead lap cars. Ricky Stenhouse, 2 laps down, will get the free pass. Well, Alex Bowman's lead just disappeared.
We only went 5 laps there. Still feel like we stayed out. The guys who pitted didn't really make up any time. 10-4.
Agreed. All 8 drivers that stayed out on the last caution are still in the first 8 positions. Pit road will be open this time with 74 to go.
Top 8 staying out, listening to Larry Mack.
Joey Logano comes in. Kurt Busch, Ryan Preece, who was the free pass 1 caution ago, is also in, along with Cole Custer. Everybody else on the lead lap stayed out. We're going to take you Fox side by side with 73 to go. Our week in Dover started Thursday in Wilmington. Artie Kepner and the Autism Society of Delaware hosted the 20th annual golf tournament. A great time was had by all. You don't see any golfers out there because we're all in the clubhouse imbibing. We all got a lot of practice, and the team with the best pencil, wedge, and eraser came in at 19 under. Team Rogetz, and thanks to Noah Gregson and saw Tad Geschecter, Jamie, Adam Alexander. We had a great time for a great cause, raising almost $250,000 on Thursday for autism.
Fantastic.
And the POWER program that employs kids and gives them really useful careers and futures.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that idea, but I loved it from the time it came out. Definitely jumped on board, and they just do such a great job. You said that's a lot of money to raise, and it's a lot of hard work going to a very good cause. 330
miles. Clint has brought us farm-crafted strawberry Frobert. Thanks for the ice cream. A Dover tradition. Hang on to your spoons, everybody. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick. Here we go, 70 to go.
You can see the difference between new tires and those tires that already have some pressures and heat in them, as Kevin Harvick not able to take advantage of that outside lane that time. Not from a lack of effort, though. Hey, check out this position right here. 7th place, 6th place. Tyler Reddick going to 6th on Daniel Suarez. Staying out, paying off.
Still, the top 8 cars are the ones that stayed out.
Yeah, but the back bumper camera, this car right here is the one that you're going to have to look out for. There's a lot of business to be had right up behind Bubba Wallace.
I'll tell you what, this just got really exciting. It's not over yet. Denny Hamlin moved the 12 of Blaney up the corner in 3 and 4.
I think it all stacked up when we were riding.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Coming through.
I mean, the bump and run, that was beautiful, but Blaney was wanting to get back to his rear bumper in the next corner.
Key is run.
So Denny Hamlin on 5-lap tires, the 7 cars ahead of him on 12-lap tires, and then a few with new tires.
Well, unfortunately, it evens things out a good bit because that one heat cycle, and now you run under caution with heat in those tires, those air pressures have built up. Now you don't have as much of an advantage as you did on those very fresh tires.
So of the cars that just stopped, Joey Logano up 4 spots to 11th is the first of those, then Cole Custer. Among those that have not been in recently, Daniel Suarez in 7th. Jamie.
Yeah, he last pitted lap 304. Mike, he told me he'd be disappointed if they weren't a top 10 car today, and that's exactly what they're doing. He told his team, I don't have any front grip, but I don't care. I'm going to go race them hard. He's hoping to bring home his 2nd top 10 of the season.
And he'll be looking for another one next week. Suarez really excited about going to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, where NASCAR will race for the first time.
Yeah, he's a good road racer.
Making the most of his opportunity, too. You know, said it right there in that comment. Hey, yeah, the front turn's not very good, but I don't care. I'm pushing as hard as I can. You know, his mind's in the right spot. I feel like paid the price last year a little bit. It's so refreshing to see him running well with a new startup team like this.
When I saw Denny Hamlin get to the rear bumper of Bubba Wallace, I thought that was going to get Bubba pretty loose going into turn 1. But
you're going to wreck your own car.
Well, I know he's not going to wreck him, but I thought he's at least going to get him loose. Maybe move him out of the way a little bit. But, man, he shot up the racetrack when he did that. And not Bubba, Denny.
We still got a long way to go, but just think about it. Bubba Wallace in that 23 car, not only is he trying to score his first top 10 of the year, he's trying to score his first top 15 of the year.
He's got that car pretty free. I can tell by the throttle in the in-car right here. she's pretty light on its rear feet, kind of tiptoeing around that bottom like that.
And I think that's why this is paying off for him right now, being on these older tires, because that's actually tightened up his race car. Like we heard Brad Keselowski talk about, I need more front turn if I'm going to be in traffic on a yellow flag and a restart. So that free car, and Denny's car's pretty loose also.
10th place here. Penske teammates.
Wearing the back bumper, the 12 car out.
Yeah.
Right? Blaney, he must have got his hands full since the hole in the front.
Now remember, Logano has new tires. He's the first car in the race that stopped at lap 327. And now Denny Hamlin moves up to 8th.
So we're talking about right there. See, he squirted the center, drove right to his back bumper, but because Denny had that diamond, when he got to the throttle, he got wide open. You really see how he made that straightaway long and drove off from him.
But you can see, I mean, he's driving away from him, but he's not yarding him in one lap. So those new tires versus older tires, not near as big of a difference as we see at a lot of other racetracks.
But see right here, so he moved up, tried something different. All right, I'm going to move up and do what Denny's doing. He got in there and got loose. I told you, I could tell by the throttle response in this car, when he ran up to try to take Logano's line right here, you can't do that. You got to just stick to what you're good at. You're wrapping that bottom good, staying with your momentum. These guys are on tires. Get the right information and stay as consistent as you possibly can. That's going to help in the long run.
Now as they come off the corner down the backstretch, look up at the top of the screen there. I'm afraid we may need to pay a little bit of attention to those dark clouds.
Oh, sure. Now you change your mind. I'm going to tell you, if it gets here, it's going to hit this racetrack hard. Let's hope it in 50-plus laps it doesn't do that.
Yeah, that is.
You guys can look at that for 2 or 3 more laps. What you need to be looking at is this race for the lead. Now we're starting to catch some lappers, and this is Kyle Larson's opportunity to try to make a pass on his teammate.
And I'm going to point out one other thing, Clint, is the pace. When they were running 23-second lap times, that's where you just weren't able to do anything if you're Kyle Larson on our leader, Alex Bowman. As the pace starts to get into the 24-second bracket, that's when I think Kyle Larson and lap traffic, as you mentioned, I think that's where the potential pass, if he can make it's going to come.
He's going to have to earn it. Alex Bowman knows who's behind him. He's going to be taking his line. Spotter's going to help him do that. Catch these lappers at the right time. So important not to have one of these lappers stall you out, because that's all it'll take. You know, we talk about Kyle Larson and his second place finishes. How does this keep happening? Dominant race car, leads the most laps, finished second. How that happens is exactly how you saw it. This is a team effort, but you got to remember a young team, you know, together. I know that they were around, but they're working together, and those things you're going to perfect with time.
Harry Gant, great NASCAR racer. He's a nominee for the Hall of Fame, and deservedly so. And Harry had 8 or 9 second-place finishes before he finally did break through and win his first Cup race. And I remember asking him after about 8 second-place finishes about that, and Harry got a little. He said, "Hey, second place pays pretty good too."
Oh man, I love hearing stories about Harry Gant.
Yep.
I got a chance to race with him early in my career, and man, what an amazing guy and driver.
I don't know what his secret is either. I mean, I look back at the start of my career, I look like I'm 100 years older than that. He looks the same age for the last 40 years.
One of our heroes, to be sure. 51 to go. We'll take you Fox side by side. 45 laps to go in Dover. Tomorrow, pro football continues with a spring league doubleheader on FS1. The Generals take on the Sea Lions. The Jousters battle the Blues. Hard-hitting action kicks off tomorrow, 7 Eastern, on Fox and the Fox Sports app. There's the gap, first to second, 7/10 of a second. Hendrick Motorsports, positions 1 through 4. Stuart Haas, 5th with Kevin Harvick. Richard Childress Racing, 6th with Tyler Reddick. Then Team Trackhouse, Team Penske, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team 1123. That's your top 10. One through 4. Pete DiPaolo Racing, that was, I believe, a Ford factory effort in 56 and in 57. And Roush Fenway Racing at Homestead, Miami are the only teams in NASCAR Cup history to score a 1 through 4 finish.
Not easy to do, that's for sure.
Oh, goodness.
Think of how competitive this series is, how hard it is to get 4 race cars not only to be that competitive and fast, but then to have the pit stops, the strategy, everything to fall your way. That's why it so far hasn't happened to Hendrick Motorsports. Could it happen today?
I hate to say this, guys. It's getting darker outside.
Oh, are you buying into this now?
Well, I'm the one that pointed it out in the first place. Thank you. But I honestly, you were talking about rain and it was sunshine in here. Now that rain I can actually see hit the ground over there. I'm getting nervous.
That is about 10 miles south of us. And it's going to stay there for 40 laps.
40.
Hendrick Motorsports has one very heralded 1-2-3 finish. That was the 1997 Daytona 500 when Jeff Gordon beat Terry Labonte and Ricky Craven to the finish line.
Boy, what a day that was. I remember it well.
Car owner Rick Hendrick was home recovering from illness, but he had a very special racing electronics setup where he could talk to all 3 of his drivers from home. Pretty slick.
It was slick. And I gotta tell you, he was extremely proud of that effort. Of course, it was the Daytona 500, but this here today, I tell you, if there's anything that could top it, it might be a 1-2-3-4 finish.
Ah, yes. Regan.
Another guy having a good day right now is Tyler Reddick in the 8 car. That race car, though, needs long runs. Right now, he needs this thing to go at least 30 laps so the top comes back in for him. That's where his race car's been the best. He's been making up a lot of time when that happens. This is a team that's been trying to close out races. That was their goal at the start of the day, as we see him get very loose right there. So far, so good with that goal.
I've been watching him. He is hung out, loose, loose, loose. Probably why that thing runs so well long into a run on that outside. I know that's a complete shocker that Tyler Reddick is running the outside.
How is that any different than any other weekend with Tyler Reddick?
Joey Logano closing in. Remember, Logano restarted 15th with new tires. While that advantage is gone, whatever they did to that 22 has really woken it up.
Tell you what, Cole Custer hanging tough right here, battle for 11th.
Yeah, that was definitely a great timed pit stop and tire change for the 22 and Logano. Remember, we documented some of their struggles, a hole in the nose, and this is by far the most competitive they've been all day long and taking advantage of those 4 fresher Goodyears.
You know, back to Cole Custer in that 41, he got 4 fresh tires the same time Joey Logano did in that 22. You just saw Custer up there battling Ryan Blaney in the 12.
Getting frustrated right there. Going to move up, try to take some air off of him, get him loose. Now he's got to get off in this corner, hook that bottom. There you go. Or the old slide job. The old-fashioned slide job always works well, too. A lot of rubber down on that racetrack.
Yep. Coda next Sunday on FS1. That's going to be fun.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited. The only thing that I'm going to say it again. Boy, I wish I was in a hot rod for that race.
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of, in my opinion, recipes for disaster. Those long straightaways, very tight corners. That's a dive bomb city opportunity right there.
Yeah, you said dive bomb city because those hard braking zones are going to create some passing opportunities.
And if you mess up one of the S's, you've messed up all of them. It's an interesting racetrack to be sure.
Yeah,
Hey, we're going to get some road course ringers for that race.
Yeah, but
well, there's
in
one
my
road
opinion,
course ringer that's here every weekend. Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I mean, I could.
And we've been looking for him
that too.
to show up and contend lead laps, and I think that's exactly where the answer is.
See Anthony Alfredo behind Chase, still motoring on despite that big spin and crash into the inside retaining wall. Not much damage in that one. Looked worse than it was.
Yeah, they did a nice job patching that up.
Rick Hendrick closing in on one of stock car racing's longest standing records. Most career wins by a team owner. Joe Gibbs Racing stands at 190 and counting. Hendrick Motorsports 266. And Petty Enterprises at 268. 2 away. Of course, 200 of those were by Richard Petty.
Such a neat guy.
He's had to work hard to get this race team where it is. You know, you go back to the very beginning and look at Rick. He only had maybe 1 or 2 dealerships at that time when he decided to get into motorsports and into NASCAR. And
now he's got them all.
Just like he built up his business, he's built up this race team.
He grew up in rural southern Virginia, and his dad was a sometimes crewman on Ray Hendrick's winning modified. Ray won over 500 races. No relation, though they spell it the same way. And that's how Rick got introduced to stock car racing. Then he veered off. He got into powerboat racing and found his way back to stock cars and into the Cup Series.
If anybody has a chance at Alex Bowman, the chances now. We're finally getting in a pretty heavy, significant lap traffic. It's going to be crucial for him to get through him, and then also Larson. And I think I'm pretty shocked that I haven't seen Larson try to move up, change his line a little bit, feel something else out. You're not going to drive through him on that bottom.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too, but you know, as they've gotten into traffic, actually Bowman stretched it out, and now Chase Elliott has gotten a little bit closer to our second place runner, Kyle Larson.
You know, guys, a lot can happen in 25 laps, but if indeed Alex Bowman can seal the deal, obviously he's done his job. But Jamie Little, you got to tip your hat to that pit crew winning that battle off pit road, their last pit stop.
Yeah, Larry, you said it. Fastest of the year for this 48 pit crew, and that's what Alex had asked him. Guys, just give me clean stops. Their spotter, Kevin Hamlin, right now telling their driver, hey, that 5 car is burning up his stuff. He's not closing on you. He needs to reel you in, so don't even worry about him. And guys, right now, Alex is leading his 1,000th lap of his career.
Quite a performance as he gets into traffic here.
Very Jimmy Johnson-esque too. When I watch this 48 go around that racetrack, leading these laps and the closing laps here at Dover.
Hugging that bottom. Nobody did it better than Jimmy.
Nope.
Not the exact same team, but a lot of the same magic.
Tell you what, we talked about it, and I told him in the pre-race, we were talking about odds, 18-1 on this 48 car. Pretty good odds right there. Somebody could be making a lot of money.
This fella comes to the race with that trophy and 30 or so die-cast cars, because one of them has to go into Miles' upper hand, and it has to be the car of the winner.
Yeah, but the Speedway knew something we didn't know, because they already had that 48 Ally Chevrolet
out front. Yeah.
Out front in the full size Miles the Monster.
Maybe calling their shot, huh?
Maybe. There it is. Maybe we should have done the Credit One Bank 2 to watch.
we knew that we were setting ourselves up, didn't we?
Kyle led 263 of the first 303 laps today. tells the story.
And Mike, remember what I said earlier, the last time the 48 car won here at Dover in the spring of 2017? You guessed it, Kyle Larson finished second.
That's right. Larry, do you have any trends or other news for us?
I was digging my piece of paper out when that last caution came out, so it was right on top of the trend, so that's why you've not seen a trend, which I'm sure that man right there, Greg Ives, hoped the trend that normally we go the last 20 laps caution free at Dover, because normally it comes out with about 85 to go, so we're well past that.
Okay.
And it looks good to the south. I think we're going to be all right.
I believe you're right.
I think, yeah, it does look like it's moving away from the track now.
Tell you who's done a great job in this green flag run is Joey Logano. He came in and got tires at lap 327 and restarted 15th. Logano has now climbed up to 6th. He is by far the biggest advancer among those that stopped on the last caution. I guess what we've seen is that new tires don't make that big a difference. So if we got a caution, would you come? Would you stay out?
Oh man, that would get tricky for these crew chiefs. That would be tough. But track position so important. And man, I can't believe my eyes right now. I'm watching that 19 Mark Truex Jr. going down a lap to our leader right now, Alex Bowman. I mean, of all tracks that I thought this 19, starting from the pole position here today, dominated last week. If I thought he was going to go back-to-back and do it again, it was right here today.
Yeah, Mike, if we get a caution in the next 6 to 8 laps, I think you got to come. The pace has fallen off almost a second and a half, second and 3/4. Now we get down 5 or 6 to go. That's where the decision gets a little tougher.
Jeff, you saw Rick Hendrick pacing back and forth from one pit to the other.
I was going to say, so what do you do if you're a 4-time owner like this and you got your cars running 1, 2, 3, 4? What box do you pick? Do you go over for the shot to get on your leader and you move on? Or
I think he plays a lot of musical chairs on race day when he comes to the track.
That's why he's pacing up and down and walking up and down pit road.
Always in communication and trying to work out what if and what next. Well, this is an all but perfect performance for Team Hendrick with 13 laps to go. The only non-Hendrick drivers to lead today were Martin Truex for 16 laps and Denny Hamlin for 2. That is a thrashing.
tells me that obviously they've got good hot rods, right? We've seen that over the course of the year. Keep getting better, keep perfecting this. But they have a good setup for this track.
Yeah, that's
a lot of history, a good setup, and all the teams are buying into it. And I think the proof's in the pudding with the performance today.
And the tire, the downforce, the engine package, that hasn't changed much here, over the last couple of years. So you're right, great notes to go off of and great race cars. And clearly, the teams, they stepped up on pit road too.
But here's what's really special. I mean, we have a number of big powerhouse teams with 3 and 4 cars. And they would have a day when 2 of those cars would run extremely well, or 3 of those cars would run very, very well in the case of the 4-car teams. But to have everybody firing on all 8 cylinders and running in the first 4 positions for half of the race, good grief.
Pretty well-oiled machine.
Yes. 10 to go. Joey Logano may fight his way all the way to the top 5 here.
Going back to that call, those tires, separate yourself.
So he was on pit road 23 laps later than Kevin Harvick, who he's battling with. And I think, Larry, help me here, 13 of those laps were green, maybe 14.
Yeah, you had about 11 caution flag laps.
Okay.
So that's so number of caution laps in there as well.
Daniel Suarez slipping to 9th against Denny Hamlin.
That's kind of the surprise to me. Not just Daniel Suarez, a great job he's doing, but that Denny Hamlin, when they came in and got those 4 tires, that it did not really materialize anything.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. very, very well. Flip side, look at the 22 that did. You know, he put those tires off.
Joey Logano, top 5.
Tell you what, he stays on this run, he might stink up the show for Rick Hendrick. He's got about half a straightaway to go to get to William Byron. So William Byron gets caught up in some lap traffic or something. Joey Logano with those fresher tires could potentially catch him. We'll see what happens here over the next 7 laps.
Got a slow car in the apron, but it looks like I think he's gonna.
Yeah, it's Chase Briscoe again, who is now 63 down with 6 to play. He's going to make it to pit road and see if they put it away for the day. One thing you rarely see out of Rick Hendrick is display of emotion, right?
Well, you know, in this situation, I know Rick very well, and he's not necessarily a superstitious kind of guy, but he's seen it all happen before when they've been in some great
there's
positions.
a smile.
Hey, there's a smile.
Wait 5 laps. Wait 5 laps, and you'll see the big
exactly.
grin.
I was going to say, he's smiling on the inside, but he didn't want to show anything on the outside till this checkered flag was.
He's nervous right now. Don't take this from me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dominant day.
I also want to call out Kyle Busch. He got down 7 laps early due to a spark plug wire, and he was ready to pull it in and head for the house as soon as it blew up. Well, it didn't, and they pulled in and they fixed it. And despite being 37th with 7 laps down and no chance, he's stayed out there. He's run hard. He's only about 2/10 off the leader's lap times, and he's gained 10 positions.
10.
Doesn't mean much today, but when they get to counting points toward the end of the season, that might.
Absolutely.
So good for them. Good effort. Great
Never
effort.
give up. And took a pit stop through the grandstands with his fans out there. He even took a bow for him.
That's
Man,
true.
it's been a busy day for Kyle Busch.
How does he do it?
Chris Buescher's going to get another lead lap finish. So is Ross Chastain, Austin Dillon, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer.
On this one.
Suarez.
Man, I tell you what, he worked for it. The 5 was on his bumper, trying to get him loose, hung tough.
Yep.
Won this race on that restart, in my opinion.
White flag in the air. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
I go back to Richmond, the race that Alex Bowman won a little bit earlier in the season, how he kind of snookered him and stole that one late in the race. Man, this one was just all about that pit crew and Alex Bowman on the racetrack today.
Checkered flag in the air. Alex Bowman gets his 4th career victory, winning the Drydene 400.
You guys, pit crew, you won that race, not me. So proud of you guys. Hell yeah. Yes.
2nd win of the year, 2nd driver with more than 1 victory in 2021. He was runner-up in this race 2 years ago. And this year, he gets to hoist Miles the Monster. For Rick Hendrick, that's career win 267. Going all the way back to the mid-'80s with Jeff Bodine at Martinsville, and win number 1 on a day where Hendrick had said, you know, if we don't do well today, I think we're going to have to fold our tent.
Whoever made the call
very
to
well.
wrap that car out there in Miles's hand, man, he's looking really smart right now. Told you, boss. Pick this one. Great job. A big win for that team. And he said it, you know, give praise where it's due. And I like the fact that he recognized his team for getting him out front in front of the 5. But that being said, I go back to that restart. He held off that 5 car in some intense pressure.
Well, I'll also say one other thing. If you go back to the beginning of this race, that 48 was not the fastest car on the racetrack. They had to work at it with adjustments, communication, as well as a great pit work. And he had to work his way up through traffic. There's Greg Ives talking about what an incredible effort. He knows how much this means to Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports to do something they've never done before, which is not easy to do for this organization.
Positions 1 through 4 to Rick Hendrick's Chevy Camaros. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and William Byron in a thorough thrashing of the rest of the NASCAR Cup Garage. Jamie.
He just said there's a lot of smoke. Alex Bowman wins at Dover, and he gets his crew chief's first official victory as a crew chief at this racetrack. Alex, you just said it's all about the pit crew. What can you say about the chemistry of this team right now and what you're able to do?
Yeah, you know, we won Richmond and then had a really rough couple weeks there, and went to some really good racetracks for us and struggled, and told the guys last week we're still the same team that did it at Richmond. This is another really good place for us. I'm just so pumped for Ally. It feels right to put the 48 back in victory lane here after how many races that this car has won here. But Mr. H is here. I don't think I've won with him here before, so that's really cool. Just so proud of this pit crew. You know, it was obviously a rough off season for us and a big void to fill. So not that we're ever going to fill the void that Rowdy left, but Alan is doing a really good job, and the whole pit crew is doing a really good job. So thanks to my spotter, Kevin Hamlin, for coaching me there at the end. It was fun racing Kyle, and glad to get Hendrick Motorsports another win. And
I have to say, Mr. H is here, and he had a big smile on his face there. Alex, you guys on the last stop, your team got you out ahead of the 5. You had been in dirty air all day. How much did your car change? You're on fire over here. So much rubber.
We're on a lot of fire over here. I don't know if somebody wants to come put that out. Kind of like this race car, might want to keep it. How about this? The fans are back. I get to talk to you with my face. It's pretty cool. So appreciative to have you guys back here. Man, best racetrack on the schedule, in my opinion. Wish we still came here twice, but thank you guys so much for coming out. And yeah, I don't know. Help me, Tom Cruise? I'm on fire. But it's a big fire. Kind of worried.
Congratulations. Alex Bowman gets the 48 back to victory lane at Dover.
Alex Bowman's teammate, Kyle Larson, so incredibly strong yet again today. Kyle led 263 laps, lost the lead. Looked like maybe you're going to be able to get up there and battle him. What did you lack there at the end?
Yeah, just I felt like all of us HMS guys were pretty equal, so it was kind of like whoever got out to lead was going to be hard to beat. So their team just did a really good job on that pit stop and gained control of the race, and never really had a shot after that, really. That one restart, I got to his bumper and got him loose, but then the 4 was coming, so we kind of had to let each other go. But I mean, hard to be disappointed with that second. I mean, like I said, I feel like I did everything I could, and we led a lot of laps, won both stages there, so good points. But would have liked to be one spot better, but you know, all in all, a good day for our Nation's Guard Chevy, and what a day for Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet. So thanks to everybody at the shop, the engine shop. It's pretty amazing. I don't know when the last time Mr. H has had all 4 of his cars in the top 4, but that's pretty special day for sure.
Nice job today, Kyle. Thanks.
Thank you.
The answer to that question is never. Let me put this butt kicking into perspective. Rick Hendrick finishes 1 through 4. It takes 5 other organizations to fill the top 10 spots.